It is never a bad day to play a little hardball, but today is particularly nice. Gorgeous afternoon in Scottsdale. Spring training 2017 continues. Preparations for the Rockies against the Cubs ongoing. And we welcome you with that inside Salt River Fields, along with Ryan Spilborgs and Jenny Kavnar. I'm Drew Goodman. Jenny will be with us all afternoon long, and we are excited about that.
Thanks. Looking forward to it.
First
all of a
female
sudden,
in a regional sports network broadcast
so
ever.
It is historic in that regard. And
Yes.
the other historic thing is there's a lot of people taking our picture today, and that never happened before you sat here.
That's because I was the one taking your picture.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hey, you know what? Starting today will be German Marquez, who's one of those guys, Spilly, who's in the mix for potentially filling one of the two vacancies in the rotation.
Well, he came over from Tampa Bay as part of the Corey Dickerson, him and Jake McGee, and I think he really ripped through the minor leagues last year. Ended up winning Eastern League Player of the Year, Pitcher of the Year for the Rockies. Saw 3 starts in September in 2016. I love it. Big arm, good off-speed pitches, but Bud Black's been saying he's still a work in progress, so it'll be interesting watching him today against the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a big start for Marquez today, but you talk about those 2 vacancies to fill in the starting rotation. Really 4 guys in the mix. In addition to Marquez, you have Antonio Senzatella, you have Kyle Freeland, and you even have Harrison Musgrave, but it possibly might be 3 openings to make this opening day roster. That's because Bud Black has been saying he wouldn't mind one of those young arms to end up in his bullpen. What a great way to get a guy without a lot of experience mixed in to the major leagues, and then of course adding depth to your bullpen.
You know, I like what he said also. Not only did he say, I'm not opposed to the idea of having a young starter begin his career in the bullpen, he said, I'm an advocate of it. Well, the Rockies made some changes in their bullpen, guys who will primarily be down there, Greg Holland and Mike Dunn, and they have had beautiful springs, Jenny.
Yeah, they absolutely have. I mean, Mike Dunn yesterday, what a disappointment, though. He gave up his first hit of spring training.
I thought they were going to send him out today.
I know. 9 appearances for him so far this spring, 8 2/3 innings. I mentioned that 1 hit. He's also allowed 2 walks, but he struck out 11. This is a guy with some deceptive stuff, and he absolutely came in as advertised. We talk about having a bulldog in your rotation, like a Tyler Chatwood. Well, now you have one down in your bullpen as well.
And they not only added 1 bulldog, they added another one at Kansas City Royal. Great. You're talking about Greg Holland. Last year spent on the disabled list due to Tommy John in 2016. He has over 150 saves in his career. He's starting to get his stuff back. Steve Foster saw him for 5 years in Kansas City. He said where he's at right now, he looks as good as he has back in those Kansas City days.
And I think it's kind of been an understated thing this spring because Greg Holland's not making as many appearances, but he has been dominant. He is a guy that is really going to help that bullpen, so it's been exciting stuff. We'll have a little bit of an update on John Gray when we come back when Corey Sullivan joins us in front of first pitch this afternoon. It's the Rockies and Cubs on a glorious day in Scottsdale. Rockies, and Joe Madden in his third year as the skipper of the Chicago Cubs. They were together on Mike Scioscia's staff for a number of years with the Los Angeles Angels. The fourth member of our crew this afternoon is Corey Sullivan, battling the sun. Corey.
Yeah, I got to avoid it because the little area on the top of my head can get a little reflective. But we got a little update on Jon Gray. Yesterday he went out and it all started pretty well for him. He retired the first 7 batters he faced. Then he ran into a little bit of trouble, giving up 7 straight hits. 4 of those came on 4 consecutive pitches. He said he was working on something that didn't really work out, and he wasn't able to locate as well as he wanted to. Unfortunately, then he had to leave his start a little bit early with the left big toe injury, something he said that had happened last week when he was coming out of the box on a base hit. Unfortunately for him, that slowed him down. He went into the clubhouse, got an MRI, got an X-ray. All those showed were inflammation. This morning at Bud Black's presser, he joked around saying he watched him get poked, prodded, and they weren't able to reciprocate that pain. So that's all good news for Jon Gray. Drew, it looks like the Rockies dodged a bullet, and it's nothing big. He's in line to make his next start on Wednesday in a minor league game, and it still sets up for the possibility of him starting on opening day.
Yeah, that is great news. We all visited with him a little bit this morning, and he looked very confident and very pleased with the report on that injury. DJ doing a little autograph signing. First pitch. Some of the images of spring training, and that's one of my favorite images. The grassy knoll beyond right center field, left and left center field, filled to the brim, as it typically is at Salt River Fields, and especially today with the Cubs making the move up from Mesa, right on the Tempe border. If you're familiar with the Phoenix area, their facility resides at the 101 and 202, the merger there. Line drive by John Jay, gloved by DJ LeMahieu, and Marquez has his first guy of the ball game on pitch number 2. Here's the Southwest batting order for the Cubs this afternoon. They'll have Jason Hayward in the 2 spot. Wilson Contreras, good-looking young catcher, he'll bat third. Javier Baez became a familiar name in baseball circles last postseason. Heimer Candelario, one of the better prospects in their system. Mike Caesar, Chris Dominguez, Carlos Sepulveda, and the former Rocky, Brett Anderson. The left-hander will be on the hill for Chicago initially. Jason Hayward, mighty struggles a year ago offensively, and he made some changes in his approach during the offseason. And he does not have the fruits yet for all of his labors. He's hitting just 140, but last year he struggled in a large way throughout the year, just a 230 average.
Well, luckily for Jason Hayward and the Chicago Cubs, he has till 2023 to figure it out.
That's put in an interesting manner.
A few days to figure it out, no doubt.
That's a strike. The curious thing, guys, when you look at what he did last year, you think, okay, he hit 230, and he's never hit for a high average. He did one year, he hit 293 with St. Louis before he moved on. This is a easy fly ball in left center field. There wasn't an inordinate amount of strikeouts. He struck out just 93 times last year and well over 500 at bats. So it's not like, man, he's missing contact. We'll have more on that in 1 second. Jenny, there's some of the numbers on German Marquez.
Yeah, just 4 games so far this spring, 2 starts, but he has made a few minor league starts, including his last outing. He was able to go 5 innings. I think the biggest deal for Marquez today is he's fighting for one of those 2 spots in the opening rotation, is to land the breaking ball. That's what Bud said today. That was the big emphasis for him. And I talked with catcher Tony Walters a little bit yesterday, and he said this is a guy who trusts his fastball so much, and that's evident because he throws it about 60% of the time, that he needs to start trusting his off-speed stuff just the same, because this is a guy that can be pretty nasty when he's able to mix in that fastball and his off-speed.
You have to have secondary stuff, Spilly. You know that as a guy that produced so well at the big league level. It does not matter how hard you throw. At this level, they catch up to you, and it's really 1 through 8. It's not just a couple of guys in a lineup, as sometimes is the case in the minor leagues.
I think that sequence of pitches is a good example. Wilson Contreras, 2-0 count. You're not able to get ahead. You try to throw a first pitch, off-speed pitch for a ball in the dirt, fastball outside, and now you know you have a fastball coming 2-0, and he lines it right up the middle.
Well, as Jenny said, he did not land that breaking pitch to get ahead. Now, Javier Baez got a nice round of applause as he stepped in. The energetic young player from Puerto Rico who's missed a lot of camp because he was playing with Team Puerto Rico all the way to the gold medal game against the United States.
And don't forget about the silver medal parade that they had in Puerto Rico.
Back in San Juan.
Actually, Javier wasn't able to attend the parade in Puerto Rico, I found out today, because he wanted to take his entire family with him to Puerto Rico. So he stayed back in Arizona, missed out on the parade, but what I took from it was that him and his countrymates that were part of the WBC were so proud of it for all the turmoil that was going on in Puerto Rico. They said that a country that could rally around for 3 weeks watching baseball meant a lot to that country.
Yeah, you could tell. I mean, just the emotion that they played with. I mean, even the fact of them all dyeing either their hair or a goatee or a beard, the color blonde, just to kind of band together and unite together as one country. And I mean, that was what made the WBC so great. We talked about it as that ball fouls off there. We talked about the emotion that the game is played with. We don't ever see that emotion in March unless if it's a WBC year. And it's fun to kick baseball off that way. You talk about postseason-like atmospheres and people coming out to the ballpark representing their country and cheering so loud. And for the players, I mean, even I didn't get the chance to talk to Nolan yesterday, but today he just still has that extra bounce in his step. Like he played some meaningful baseball before the season even begins.
That is a foul ball. Well, I chatted a bit with Nolan today after batting practice, and he still has, Nolan always has a bounce in his step and a buzz around him because he loves, I mean, truly loves to play the game every day. But we're talking a little bit more about his experience, and he still had that glow to him, man. It was, I don't want to speak for him, but I don't think I'm out of school saying it may have been his best baseball experience ever.
I think he said it as much. You know, I think it's a life-changing experience when you get to be on a team like that. Come on, Drew, get your glove today. That ball came right at you.
I had my bare hand glove. And you know what? That's my man, Matt Seiler, who just got the baseball. Our family friend.
Look, he put him in the best seats.
His sister used to work for us at Root Sports, and Emily shied away, but Matt, who was a really good player at Arapahoe High School, just made a nice play.
Look at that. You never know who you're going to find in the stands.
Nolan was teasing today that he was going to wear his gold medal during batting practice because he knew Javi Baez was on the Puerto Rican team and they came in second place.
That's so good. He might have it on.
Underneath his jersey?
Yeah. If he gets hit in the chest and it doesn't hurt, we'll know why. the gold medal protector.
Marquez strikes out Baez to end the first frame. Contreras, who had a base hit, is left at first. We'll see the Rockies with the bats when we come back. Spring training hits. He'll be first. Last year, gorgeous numbers, 324 batting average, and of course 29 home runs, just 143 games. Buddy Black's Southwest batting order will feature DJ LeMahieu. Cargo will bat third, then Nolan, Trevor Story. Those are, it's safe to say, your first five on opening day as well. Mark Reynolds, Kristen Orphy getting the start in left field. Dustin Garneau with the gear on, and German Marquez will participate offensively. And Brett Anderson is on the hill, the former Oakland A, the former Colorado Rocky, the former Los Angeles Dodger most recently. And it's been kind of a rough spring. He's given up 18 hits in 11 1/3 innings.
Not that rough, because the Cubs just named him their 5th starter for the season. So Mike Montgomery, another person that was fighting with Brett Anderson for a spot in the rotation. Joe Mann loves his versatility, so he's putting him to start off the season. In the bullpen, Eddie Butler was optioned down to the minor leagues a couple days ago, so he's out of the running. So Brett Anderson is the Cubs' 5th starter heading into 2017.
And I think that's a safe play by Joe Madden. This is an easy play for Sepulveda, 1 out.
I think the way their rotation actually lines up, Brett Anderson will pitch the 4th game of the season because they want to break up their lefties with John Lester getting the opening day nod. So for Brett Anderson, I mean, continuing to survive, this is a guy, gosh, he's been through so many injuries. We've talked about how strange and bizarre his injuries are. He basically played the game of operation with Brett Anderson as the character on there, and be able to do all the surgeries or you know, handle all the ailments he's had to deal with.
Were you any good at that game, or did you always touch the side and get shot?
Always touch the side.
I always went for the funny bone. That was the only one I ever wanted to get, was the funny bone.
Yeah, well, you got to go for the funny bone, right?
Butterflies in the belly was good too, though.
That is a good one. Does that game still exist?
Of course it does.
Your kids play it?
No, I play it. When the kids go to bed, I play it.
Those are timeless games. LeMahieu hitting 348 with a home run this spring, and the average will go up. Never seen him do that. Go to right field with authority. And that'll bring up Cargo.
Mr. Oppo.
Yep, Oppo Taco, man.
Did you guys read the article comparing DJ LeMahieu to Tony Gwynn?
Yes.
I thought it was such a great nod to DJ, because you talk about Tony Gwynn, and in 15 years, he won 8 batting titles, right? The 15 years after, he played, 14 different guys won a batting title. That's how hard it is to do and how easy Tony Gwynn made it look. But that's the same approach and tenacity that DJ takes to his work ethic. I know we talk about it all the time, but this is a guy that never stops working on his approach, even when he is the reigning batting champ.
Cargo takes a strike. I am not suggesting that, and I hope he does, but I'm not suggesting he's going to hit 348. Again, it's the highest batting average, by the way, in baseball since 2008.
You're suggesting he hits 350?
We would all love that, but he's going to hit 300 plus.
Oh, no doubt. I think when you watch him, the long levers, and he's really gotten back to the point for DJ LeMahieu of keeping the head still. For him, that was so important. Staying in the legs, allowing his hands to just do its normal bat path. People tried to change him for years. He started his career in Chicago, and I think when he was there, Richie Zisk was a hitting instructor in the minor leagues and was telling him, like, this is how it's easy to hit, hitting off a batting cage. And it said it meant a lot to DJ because DJ paid attention to it and saw whatever Richie was doing was something that DJ could do because it stayed within his strengths.
2-2 on Cargo.
And when you have that approach, like you said, Jenny, the tenacity to stay with an approach regardless of what it is, hitting the ball to right field isn't the sexiest thing on a baseball field. People want to see you pull the baseball. He does not get away from it, and he stays true to himself.
I still think you could ask fans around the league who won the National League batting title. It'd be the greatest trivia question because I highly doubt people will come up with the name DJ LeMahieu, and he likes it that way. I think that keeps a chip on his shoulder. Not that DJ is the guy that wants to sit there and be in the spotlight because that's the furthest place he wants to be. But I think that keeps him moving and keeps him motivated. The fact that he's not in the conversation of being one of the best second basemen in the National League, he's in the conversation for us. I think he's in the conversation for broadcasters in the National League West. But nationally, he doesn't get recognized like that.
You made an accurate observation. He's okay with that, and I love that. As Nolan fouls this off, I love that he doesn't get it from this perspective. For DJ, he does not need a lot to give fuel to the chip on his shoulder, and it's a good chip on the shoulder. And I think all great athletes play with a chip on the shoulder, and DJ is one of those guys. Remember, this is a Cub team that dismissed him for Darwin Barney. And I'm not trying to, you know, throw sand at Darwin Barney. He's a big leaguer. But this guy's become a special player.
I do think the only defense I'll give the Chicago Cubs in allowing DJ to go away from their organization was that it was a changing of the guard. Theo Epstein took over for John Henry as the general manager of the Cubs and allowed a player to slip through the cracks.
Nolan hits a high fly ball to left center field. It's playable for Hayward. He had the better angle with the sun behind him, and he makes the catch to end the inning. We'll go to the second, no score. DJ had a base hit, left at first. Here's today's CenturyLink high-speed challenge. Go to @RootSports_RM to vote. Will the Cubs repeat as World Series champions in 2017? You have two choices, yes or no.
Where's Philly at a third choice?
They could tie, which they've done 5 times during spring training. Improbable comeback. We talk about how great the WBC has been for baseball this spring. But Jenny, that World Series, even if you were the most casual fan, you had to be captivated by that series that went 7 games between the Cubs and the Indians.
It was fun. I think it rejuvenated the game of baseball. And the teams, you put 2 teams in Middle America in it, I think it just made for so much excitement. I was unfortunately on vacation with friends from Cleveland.
Likewise, me too.
So my Cleveland friends were not so happy with Game 7, but as a baseball fan, I was pretty pumped with how things ended. What's your third part to the whole question? You said heck no? Is that what you're circling?
Yeah, heck no was the chance. And I honestly, I cannot imagine the Chicago Cubs repeating as World Series champs, not because they don't have the talent. There's no question that the Chicago Cubs is as much talent as any team in the major leagues. It's just the rarity of going back-to-back World Series. The last time there was a National League back-to-back World Series champ was in the 70s with the Reds.
All the way back. Big Red Machine.
Toronto Blue Jays won back-to-back 92-93. The Yankees won it 3 times in a row. But I think when you look at luxury tax thresholds, I think with free agency and all these different really hurdles that have been set up through collective bargaining agreement, it's made it more and more difficult for teams to retain their great players.
You know, you say that, and there's validity to everything you say. As Matt Caesar is going to draw a walk here.
Of course, there's validity behind everything.
Which is unusual for you, but I wanted to give you credit in this particular case. You still have a wide disparity between some of the haves and have-nots economically in baseball. It's just very difficult to repeat in sports, period, and I think especially in the game of baseball. Last year, 103 wins during the regular season. Plus 252 is ridiculous. I mean, that is ridiculous to have a run differential of plus 252. They did everything well. They pitched well. They played extraordinary defense. And the scary thing is, at least from a position player standpoint, Jenny, this is a really young team. Really young team.
And I think when you're building on that, when you have the leadership of a Joe Maddon, I kind of have to laugh because you know, how do you repeat again? How do you repeat half the things Joe Maddon does to get this team to bond together? I mean, you have a petting zoo out on the field one day. You basically bring a circus in the clubhouse the next. He's constantly trying to outdo himself in ways to just get this team to have fun and to buy into baseball. And at the end of the day, that's exactly what they did. And down the stretch, Phil, you and I were talking about it. It was the players that really grabbed a hold of this team and said, we have to do this for ourselves. I think they went on an unbelievable, not win streak, but just a winning way early on in the season that led them straight into the postseason. But by the time it comes down to it and your back's against the wall, you have to get to Game 7, nevertheless win Game 7 to take it.
You're right.
It was those players that took over, and a young base is part of that, Drew.
Runner takes off, and it's a beautifully executed hit and run by Chris Dominguez. And Caesar will go first to third. That's how you draw it up. Great execution by the Cubs. So runners on the corners with 1 out.
Well, Dominguez was a former draft pick from the San Francisco Giants and has been grinding through the minor leagues. Last time he was in the major leagues was in 2015, but I love the fact that he's playing small ball with Joe Maddon, showing his versatility as a hitter. This is a first baseman. That's a big first baseman hitting behind the runner. You ready?
I like this situation for German Marquez. You're talking about a big start for him. You now have runners on the corner at the bottom of the order. This is that time that you really see who he is as a pitcher. Even though it's a spring training game, you're digging in and you're figuring out if he can get out of this.
Carlos Sepulveda, the second baseman, steps up. And he fouls it off. The nice thing about the young arms that are in contention for those 2 spots for the Rockies, they have the ability to miss bats. And in a perfect world right now, you'd like to miss the bat 3 times as Sepulveda, get the second out, and then deal with Brett Anderson.
We had several scouts that saw Marquez throw last year in Double-A, and they said he could almost routinely touch triple digits with the fastball.
And he's ahead 0-2.
Dominguez was running on that pitch. Again, when we're watching a young pitcher trying to crack the big leagues, there's a couple important aspects. You're looking at, can he command the strike zone with his fastball? Does he have a secondary pitch? And probably third most important, can you control the running game?
That's looped foul. That's so huge. And it falls for me under the category of how valuable 90 feet is. And good teams understand that offensively and defensively. Let's see if Marquez can get a punch out. 2-strike count on Sepulveda. Garneau sets up away, and he just missed with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Jenny touched on it. Marquez, similar to Senzatella in that they have great fastballs. The secondary stuff is a work in progress. Senzatella may have a slight advantage right now in that he has great fastball command where Marquez will still walk some guys. In fact, the runner at third base, Matt Caesar, a one-out walk.
Watching Sepulveda just trying to get loaded up to face Marquez. He's still behind fastball. That's why we haven't seen the off-speed pitch.
There it is, and he just missed with it. 3-2.
But I know Dustin Garneau is watching the timing. We've seen Sepulveda foul off a lot of pitches. Fastballs right on top of him. You don't want to throw an off-speed pitch that could speed up his bat. But now he's forced himself into a fastball situation where he's going to have to force to throw a fastball.
And this is a double play ball. There's one on the first. Double play worked out nicely. So Marquez gets out of the first and third situation in the second. Trevor Story, that man, will be hitting when we come back. Home runs this spring. He'll be first up in the second inning. 6 home runs in his first career games last year. Took Zach Greinke deep opening day. That's with the National League Player of the Week.
It's a good story.
It's a good pun.
Here we go.
I like to think of it as a chapter, Spilly. It's just beginning.
Just a first chapter.
How ridiculous, though, when you think about that. You're like, okay, that's cool. The kid hit, in his first game ever in the big leagues, he hit a home run. No, he hit 2 home runs, okay? And then he hit a home run in the next game, and then the next game. and then you come home for opening day, your first time ever at Coors Field in front of a sold-out crowd, and you go deep, not once, but twice.
Crazy stuff. It's fun to watch. He's going to be fun to watch for a long time. And since we're in March and it is the time of year for baseball predictions, and I've already thrown one out on LeMay
here we go.
Story will steal 15+ bases this year.
Yes.
That's his prediction.
It's a part of his game that I don't think even the casual scout is aware of, because I've seen some reports that had him listed as, and this is going to shock you when I say this, a slightly below average runner.
What?
Exactly. I can show it to you, which is a joke, because if you lined up
same
the Rockies,
Goldschmidt probably in that category.
And Goldschmidt had 32 stolen bases last year. If you lined up the 40-man roster, it is going to be a tight race between Trevor Story, David Dahl, and Raimel Tapia.
That boy.
He is sneaky fast.
I don't even think he's sneaky fast.
Feet. You're right. Maybe sneaky's not even a word.
He can flat go. He can really run.
What do you got on that race that you mentioned? What do you have?
He's run a 6.4 60.
That's pretty good.
It's really good. First 2 cars I owned didn't go that fast. I don't know who I'd have winning that race.
I think if you did it first to second, I think Trevor Story could win that race. I think if you did first to home, David Dahl would win that race, or Tapia.
So they have great speed underway.
I'll tell you, David Dahl would tell you right now he'd win that race.
But that's what you want him to say. Brett Anderson strikes out. Story, his second strikeout. David.
I win that race.
But not currently. We don't want him to win that race currently.
No, he needs to get healthy.
And David,
the rib,
still working his legs. Has a few more days before they'll revisit where he is with the stress reaction in the 6th rib. Sounded like Marcus Welby there.
Yeah.
And then he hopefully will be able to resume baseball activities at that point. Still a few days away from that. Mark Reynolds. No score. We're in the bottom of the 2nd. 1 out. 2-1 count on Reynolds. 3. Oh, called strike. Adrian Johnson's behind home plate. 2-2. Three-man crew today. Kerwin Danley was supposed to be working and was a late scratch. Hopefully Kerwin's all right. That'll go foul. Brett Anderson's one of those guys who is an interesting follow on Twitter.
Very.
I think he's probably one of the first athletes that I remember really engaging on Twitter and having decent statements on all things, not just baseball. But as always, if you're willing to put yourself out on Twitter.
That'll be smoked to left center field, and it'll be cut off there by John Jay. He's a center fielder by trade, and he holds Mark Reynolds to a single. That'll bring up Chris DeNorfia.
MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.TV for details.
For example, going back to Brett Anderson on Twitter, to kick
tweet?
off March Madness, he said, "The always fun tradition of getting mad at missed free throws from kids at colleges you never usually care about begins now."
Yes, he's funny. He's closet funny.
He is very funny. He has a good following too, 64,000 followers. Comes from a baseball family. His dad is a longtime college coach. Where is his dad now? Do you know, Drew?
He was down in, was he at Houston or?
He was an assistant, I think, at Houston, or a pitching coach, maybe, after he was let go from Oklahoma State.
That's going to sneak through. A base hit for DeNorfia. First and second with one out. And that'll bring to the plate Dustin Garneau.
That's a really nice piece of hitting with 2 strikes. Just being able to make sure you let the ball get deep, watch it travel. Dino missed a couple days with the flu he had, what Jenny had. And then being able to just shoot it, put the ball in play. This is why Bud Black loved him so much. DeNorfia signed late in January, and just like Amari said, 2 guys that Bud Black has seen in his days in San Diego, and just having that familiarity with 2 guys that you can trust. You know you're going to get good quality at bats from Chris DeNorfia.
That was almost thrown into left field. The out recorded at first base by Dominguez. So 2 outs and 2 men in scoring position for German Marquez.
Here's what we'll really see what this pitcher's made of, right? Is this the make or break at bat? See if you make the rotation.
I don't know. Kyle Freeland had a pretty big at bat with the bases loaded, and I think
he went 344 and a half.
I think that helped him out.
There's some good pitchers in the starting rotation. That was a healthy hack right there. As an outfielder, did you just laugh at pitchers?
Oh, all the time, even when they were pitching.
Can't do that.
On the ground to second. Sepulveda pulls it to his chest and throws to first, ending the threat of the Rockies. Couple of hits. Reynolds and DeNorfia, 2 men left. We go to the 3rd, no score at Salt River Fields. By Hyundai. Go to buyhyundai.com to find your next car or SUV. By Ideal Home Loans, the preferred mortgage lender of the Colorado Rockies. And by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's frequency. Splendid day in Scottsdale. Rockies and Cubs meeting for the 2nd time this week. On Monday, we broadcast the Cubs' 9-6 victory here at Salt River Fields. Marquez completed his warm-up pitches. Brett Anderson will lead things off for the Cubs. Then John Jay and Jason Hayward with Jenny Cavnar. And Ryan Spilborg's upstairs. Corey Sullivan downstairs. I'm Drew Goodman. And the first pitch in there for a strike to Anderson.
I wish we would have done the poll question today, asking how many people just bought Cubs gear this year.
And had no prior affiliation to them.
Yeah.
A lot.
I would like
the number is a lot.
I'd like to take that poll in Denver. Do you know how many W flags all of a sudden you started seeing? You're like, okay, I know the population of Denver's increased 100,000 people last year, the year before, another 100,000 people.
Yeah, they're coming from California.
We get it. I didn't think you were coming from Chicago.
It's cool. It's good for baseball. As long as you're buying jerseys and supporting baseball, I don't care. It's just know if there's still a tag on your hat, I'm going to make fun of you.
You're gonna get a scanner that can like read through merchandise like when it was purchased.
Fastball to knees. That ends the at bat of Brett Anderson. That is strikeout number 2 for German Marquez. John Jay will come up for the second time. He had a soft liner to second his initial at bat. And here we are in our favorite perch this time of year in March.
Gosh, it's such a beautiful view up here. I'm really glad you guys have allowed me to see what really happens.
Allowed you.
You've
made a name for yourself. You deserve to be up here sitting, watching, talking baseball.
And I hate to rub it in for Corey, but it is a lot cooler up here.
Was it hot yesterday?
Down there. Oh man, it gets warm down in the camera well.
It is definitely not hot down here today.
Oh, well, that's good.
I think Jenny's just gotten a little soft.
Oh.
Pleasant out. Broken bat, fly ball. Cargo's got it. 2 outs.
Abby's down here. She said it feels nice down here.
Good.
It's perfect.
Well, I'm glad for you guys.
And there's Abby, the lower right.
You're on TV, Abby. Yes, you are.
Abby, a member of the outstanding media relations team with the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, Abby Thayer is the translator for the Rockies as well. So our resident translator.
One of the hats she wears, translating some of what Spilly says to the general public.
Yeah, it's mostly for Spilly. You're exactly right.
She translates for other people as well?
Oh, yes, for the Latin players.
Hold on, I'm going to go baseball conversation really quick because Corey's watching from down below. So far, well, we'll have to get back to it, but I wanted Corey to pay attention to Jason Hayward's swing and see if he saw anything that he liked about it. We'll talk about Corey and Jason Hayward when we come back.
0-0. Interesting thing happened yesterday after the game. I had watched Charlie Blackmon running out in right field, and all I kept seeing was an amazing comparison to Forrest Gump, and I could hear Against the Wind and Running on Empty playing. So after the game, Spilly and I went into the clubhouse and we went to talk to Charlie Blackmon, and he started joking around and laughing about how former Rocky Rex Brothers had sent him a picture of a split screen of Forrest Gump next to Charlie Blackmon, and it was an amazing comparison. Later on in the day, I guess Charlie had tweeted out that picture that Rex had sent him, and you get to take, and he said, yeah, I just felt like running. He actually asked me how he thought I should spell running. So it was a pretty interesting thing. What do you guys think? Looked like Forrest Gump right there?
Jenna said she likes it. Oh, it's identical. It's Charlie. And you're right. I mean, Corey, you're the one that pointed it out. He was running from the dugout yesterday out, as he typically does, to center field as he grounds out here to second. And that run, you just said, look, it's like Forrest. He just keeps going.
And not a distant relative. I think there's enough similarity.
Forrest Gump was his uncle. He didn't want to say that to brag in the tweet.
Would that be bragging if you said Forrest was your uncle?
Yeah. I mean, he accomplished a lot.
Bought Apple stock.
And he married a girl named Jenna.
I was in Alabama about a year ago, and I mean, I put like, I don't know how many miles on a rental car trying to find
Forrest Gump?
No, I was trying to find Greenbow, Alabama.
Never found it.
Never found it.
You know, there's things called maps, Drew. And in fact, that Apple stock he invested in created a thing called the iMap.
That is kicked around by Javier Baez. It hit the lip of the grass and it stayed down, but Baez handled it. He had time to handle it, and it kind of popped out of the heel of his glove. It'll be an error on Javier Baez, the slick fielding middle infielder.
Baez, by trade, is a shortstop and has moved over to second base. And you're right, ball hits right off the lip between the grass and the dirt. Had a little bit of a short hop and rode up the heel of his glove. But otherwise, Javi Baez is known as one of the most underrated second basemen up until this WBC showed up, and you're watching the spectacular plays that he started making at second base.
And Cargo beats this one into the ground, and this is going to be an infield hit for Cargo. Two strange ground balls back to back. That eluded Dominguez, and Brett Anderson wasn't going to beat Cargo to the bag.
We'll have to see if they're going to score it a hit or an error. A little bit difficult play anytime you have the top spin baseball hit to you from first base and you're trying to backhand it.
We joked that Nolan was able to get, his feet back under him with the hit yesterday, but this is a great scenario for Nolan Arenado. You have runners on, a runner in scoring position. I like this. He's going to be out of that WBC slump right here.
Nolan takes outside, 1-1.
Well, something that Brett Anderson has always done well. Whenever he's healthy, just has that pitchability. Understands how to speed up, slow down a hitter. Can throw a fastball inside to speed him up, go off speed away. Has a cutter that he can throw inside, a big slow curveball. Sully will call it the rocking chair. I call it being stuck in between. But that's what Brett Anderson does. When he's at his best, he has hitters stuck in between. And so you have to pick a location, whether it's inside, outside part of the plate.
Keep fighting that, boy.
One and two on Nolan. Sharp double to drive in a run yesterday. 1 for 3 in his return. 5 for 31 at the WBC.
looks like
Dominguez get hurt?
Yeah,
He's kind of limping, yeah.
hobbled in.
He's holding his hamstring.
And he'll come out. One thing that's guaranteed, if a guy is hobbled at all, any kind of injury in spring training, they come off the field.
Yeah, you can tell as he's going back, he just kind of pulls up right there. That's the worst when you see a guy grab the back of his leg right there. It's the worst at spring training too, I'm sure.
Especially bad when you're 30 and you're trying to stick.
Very true.
I think Candelaria is going to move over to first. He's grabbed the first baseman's glove. He was at third base.
He played first on Monday.
It looks like Baez is going to move to second base.
So what's on third? Who's on third?
Who's on third? Well, stand by, Jenny. I'll let you know. Number 96 on the field, but number 1 in our hearts.
Not on the travel roster.
Not on the roster.
Minor league call-up. We'll have to get his name and pass it along. So Sepulveda is at Sepulveda third now.
Keep working.
This isn't good in that the Cubs PR staff is not sure who 96 is either.
I think the guy just bought a jersey today.
He's playing.
Yeah, they're like, I guess, yeah. All right, we'll find out who you are.
Starting to do quick research. We're going to have a name for you.
Gotta get the name.
Hayward makes the catch. 2 outs. That'll bring up Story.
So Sepulveda moved to third.
They have Mineo.
That's a partial name. We like full names. Alberto Mineo.
There you go.
No, I don't know if that's him though. Well, here's why I'm not sure it's him.
Is he a pitcher?
He's a catcher.
He's listed as a catcher.
Hey, Tony Welters can play the infield and he catches.
I hope it's him. He's the only Mineo listed in their system. And it fits body type wise because he's 5'10", 170. If you can name where he's from, and as a bonus, his hometown, Spilly, I will buy you multiple dinners of your choice in the first 6 cities we go to.
I have to guess where he's from.
You have to get it. Well, to get all the dinners, you have to guess his hometown. But if you guess the country he's from, on the first guess, I will buy you dinner.
Mineo, that's not a, I don't know, Nicaragua.
Nope.
You lost it.
He's from Italy.
No, should have known that.
Absolutely. And you know where he's from in Italy? No, you don't. Trevor drives this to left field. This will get a run home. And Story comes through, bringing home LeMahieu, 1-0 Colorado. 8th RBI on the spring for Trevor Story.
Anytime Trevor gets a chance to get extended, he's great on the inside part of the plate just because of his hands and his ability to pull him in. Off-speed pitch trying to get inside to the back foot of Trevor Story. Gets the Rockies on the board.
Mark Reynolds who had a base hit. Fouls that went off. He is from Gorizia, Italy.
Spilly did not pass World History Or world geography
Alberto.
at Santa Barbara, or Spanish for that matter.
Still working on Spanish.
Back pick, and Javier Baez had to look that one in. He didn't get to apply the blind tag.
That was amazing. Javi Baez in a WBC game making a tag on Nelson Cruz at second base, pointing to Yadi Molina before the ball even got to him.
That was the play of the year before the year's even begun.
Have you ever heard somebody more celebrated for their ability to apply tags than Javier Baez?
No.
Well, keep working.
That misses. All right, you know, I'm glad we could get Alberto Mineo into the ball game.
We will now know that he's from Italy when he does come into a game.
Did say catcher, right, Jenny?
You did, yeah, I did.
Well, he's not playing shortstop. They pulled him out. He got his 30 seconds of fame. It's Andrew Eli at shortstop. Ball 4. And Andrew is not from that.
He's not from Italy.
No, he's from San Jose, California.
Palermo.
No, it's San Jose, California.
Yeah.
32nd rounder from the Cubs in 2014. And
but
this is so much fun.
But he likes a really good chicken cacciatore.
Sometimes those numbers get distributed when you get to the visiting ballpark, maybe.
They were in their minor league number. Denorfia hits the ball well to right field, but not well enough that it's going to elude Matt Caesar. In the inning, the Rockies take advantage of a miscue by Javier Baez. Trevor Story knocks in the first run of the game. By Hyundai. Go to buyhyundai.com to find your next car or SUV. By Ideal Home Loans, the preferred mortgage lender of the Colorado Rockies. And by Southwest Airlines, yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's frequency. Rockies, as we go to the fourth, have a 1-0 lead on the Cubs. German Marquez in a battle to fill a spot in the Rockies rotation. So far in 3 innings, has allowed a couple of hits, 1 walk, and he has struck out a pair. He'll have 3, 4, and 5 in this Cubs lineup today. It'll be Wilson Contreras, the catcher, Javier Baez, and Jeimer Candelario.
So last at bat, Marquez fell behind Contreras 2-0. Tried to start him off with an off speed. Let's see if he's able to try it this time around.
That's a good hook right there. And a first pitch strike with the curveball. So as Buddy Black told Jenny earlier, looking to land some curveballs. He landed that one. And he landed that one also. And he gets a routine fly ball to right, 1 out.
Well, don't forget the Rockies' 2017 season kicks off at home April 7th through the 9th as the Rockies take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Purchase your tickets today by calling 303-ROCKIES or online at rockies.com. Always a fun weekend. If you can't make opening day, which is just Denver's biggest party, let's be honest, the weekend has so much to offer on Saturday and Sunday. And if things shake out with this rotation the way we think they might, that could even include possibly watching a Denver native pitch in the starting rotation, right, Spilly?
Ooh, I like the tease. A kid by the name of Kyle Freeland.
Thomas Jefferson High School.
Javier Baez gets beat by the high fastball at 94. Jeff Salazar, a real close friend of yours, Spilly, and a former Rocky. Now the assistant hitting coach on the big league team. He was the hitting coach in AA last year. And we were visiting with him on a couple of occasions during the season last year. And he said, Marquez has easy heat. Denorfia battles away and handles that high fly ball from Javier Baez. Easy cheese.
Easy cheese. And there's Jeff Salazar, number 41. It looks like he's talking with Tony Diaz, a new first base coach for the Rockies as well. When I was watching Javi Baez this last at bat against Marquez, he had to change his swing, had to go from leg kick to just keeping his toe down to keep himself on time. That's easy cheese, Drew.
Jeimer Candelario, and he takes ball 1, 23-year-old. 270 hitter in his minor league career. Born in Manhattan, but spent his formative years in the Dominican.
Another thing Bud Black mentioned today is with Marquez trying to work on that changeup in addition to the curveball, you're looking at a guy that might only be taking 5 or 6 miles an hour off of his fastball, but they're okay with that because Marquez has had a really hard time with his arm action and slowing it down a little bit more to try and get that changeup. He said Zach Greinke's had success with it. King Felix has had success with it. It's okay if you sit there and just go, okay, 4 or 5 miles differential from the fastball. That still throws hitters off.
I just like any time if you're going to have a changeup that doesn't have a large margin between your fastball and the changeup, you need to have movement. Whatever that was filthy.
He threw his 3 best
curveballs.
Threw his 3 best hooks, so the game right there. Nice job by Marquez. 1-0 Rocks. CenturyLink. Rockies leading 1-0. Drew Goodman, Jenny Cavanaugh, Ryan Spielberg's Corey Sullivan. Dustin Garneau will hit in the bottom of the 4th inning against Brett Anderson, the erstwhile Rocky. Made another change for the Cubs just to confuse us. Javier Baez is back at short. He said, kid, I'm playing shortstop. You move to second.
Yeah, get over there.
So Eli's now at second.
Zach Short.
Oh, hold on. Zach
yeah.
Short's now at second. What happened to our man Andrew Eli?
This should really confuse you.
Hold on, that wasn't Andrew Eli either?
It was. No, it's not. It's not. It's the same guy who's been 3 names.
Who's on first?
No.
You know what else is a disaster? His last name's Short, but he's playing second. Do you want to just really get confused?
And he's tall.
And he's tall.
What's his first name?
Zach.
Zach Short.
Let's find out about Zach Short.
This is becoming like a comedy hour because and this isn't just us folks screwing this up.
No.
The scoreboard has put 3 different players in the game.
And I don't think I'm
for
going to
the
throw the
injured
scoreboard operators under the
Chris
bus.
Dominguez. We're going to throw everybody under the bus. Why not? We're throwing ourselves initially under the bus.
Very true.
So we will write in pencil that this is Zach Short.
Zach Short, who's tall and not at shortstop. He's at second.
We don't really know if that's Zach Short. Allegedly it is.
We're going to find out some facts about Zach Short.
If we could get, this is on the ground at Baez, I'm pretty sure that that's Javi. If we get Sully off his keister and to jog out to second base for a moment and ask him what his name is, then we could be assured that we're passing along accurate information.
All right, Drew, can you name the state that Zach Short hails from? It's a very close state to your heart.
He's from the Big Apple?
He's from the Big Apple. He's from Kingston, New York.
Is he really?
He was drafted by the Cubs last year in the 17th round.
Uh-huh.
And he went to Sacred Heart.
He went to Sacred Heart. Good. Now we have a lot more information on him, and he's not going to be able to get to that. That's a base hit for Germán Marquez.
All right, Marquez in the hit column. Billy, go ahead and break this one down.
Well, he does one thing. He gets rhythm and timing, and he puts the barrel to the ball.
I thought the timing with the leg kick was perfect.
It looked pretty decent.
I know.
To be honest.
You hate to admit that.
Didn't really stay connected though, did he, Spilly?
It's connected enough for a base hit.
For a base hit, so it works.
Yeah, the box quick enough.
It's a base hit. You can get out of the box as fast as you want.
I love pitchers who have leg kicks. Tells me something about them, right?
They're athletes.
So Marquez at first, Brett Anderson out of the stretch against Charlie Blackmon. Charlie has twice rolled one to second, but he's yet to roll one to second with Short there on the transfer. Baez not happy with himself.
That's the third weak ground ball Charlie's hit today. Baez trying to be so quick with the transfer. Almost made the Cardinals sin of fielding. It's not just getting the out.
LeMahieu was single, and he reached on an error and scored the Rockies' only run. That came last inning on a base hit by Trevor Story eventually. DJ hit .348 last year, and he came into the ball game hitting .348.
Mr. Consistent.
Go, Dick.
DJ, today we were talking in the clubhouse just about how long the spring training has been, and he asked me, he said, how many bats do I have? I feel like I have 100.
Go, DJ.
I said, I think you're getting close to 50. Because, man, 50's a lot. 50's a lot of at-bats. I think we were mentioning yesterday in the broadcast, Jim Thome would try to go down and get at bat after at bat in the minor leagues. He would like to get to 100. Some guys don't like that. They like 30 to 40. 40's plenty for most guys. DJ is going to creep up close to 60 when it's all said and done due to the 6-week-long spring training.
At some point, you have to feel like you're wasting hits, right? What was your number? I feel like every guy kind of has a number. That's good. I'm good there for spring training.
I was a 60 guy. I wanted to get up into the 60s just because spring training was my entire season.
Sure.
But for DJ, that's going to get at least 600 at bats, and Bud Black has made no question about it that the starting lineup is going to play pretty much every single day.
Yeah, it was a great conversation today that he had in regards to that. You talk about guys, not only that should play all the time, but Nolan doesn't want a day off. Talk about a guy that might play 160 games, and if it was up to him, he'd play 162. You can go around your infield. It's just about the same everywhere. I mean, minus your first base situation when you're going to have Ian Desmond come back, hopefully within the first couple of weeks of the season.
And that's why the Rockies have been toying with the idea of having a 4-man bench.
Well, most of the year last year,
yeah,
most of the year last year they had a 4-man bench. Baez gets there, and that'll end the inning. And I think it's almost a given pitching in Colorado that you're going to have the extra pitcher in the pen. 1-0 Rockies. Working on his 5th Gold Glove this year. First guy ever to play third base, and in his first 4 years win a Gold Glove in each of those seasons. And should have been near unanimity in the voting. He's that good, as you know.
He is that good. That's a lot of hardware for a young guy like Nolan.
Another 4-time Gold Glover in attendance today. He's in center field for the Cubs. He's won 3 straight, 4 in his career. Jason Hayward. Matt Caesar at the plate. And another good breaking ball for a strike, 1-1.
When you think of those numbers with Nolan, though, I mean, pretty impressive that Brooks Robinson had 16 in his career, and he didn't get 4 in a row to start his career. Mike Schmidt, 10 Gold Gloves, didn't get 4 in a row to start his career. So,
not to take anything away, I've had this argument always against some of the old Gold Glovers of the heyday. This ball's popped up to Carlos Gonzalez. Should be an easy catch for our Gold Glove right fielder. But for years, it was almost a given. If you were Brooks Robinson and you had a decent offensive season and you were Brooks Robinson, you were going to have the Gold Glove. Same with Mike Schmidt. And I think nowadays, the way the Rawlings Gold Glove and the way it's set up is they are using metrics and they're using defenses to actually give the proper guy the actual medal.
You don't have to look at offense to give a guy a defensive award anymore?
No. Hey, Drew, who's hitting?
It's our man, it's not Chris Dominguez. We know that much. It's our man Short, Zach Short.
So I combined all the different players that we've said it is so far. So we had Zach Short, Alberto Mineo, and Andrew Eli. Those are all the names that we said this player was.
Yeah,
and I combined all their stats for this spring training, and they are 0 for 1.
So Zach has a lot of pressure on him right now.
For
all three of them.
Yeah, for Alberto Mineo and Andrew Eli. Important at bat.
Well, they're now 0 for 2. Threw the fastball by him. 4 strikeouts for Marquez. 4 2/3 of very good baseball from Herman. That'll bring up Carlos Sepulveda. Taco Bell's Crunchwrap is an icon, but now they've doubled down with an extra layer of everything you love. Hope you're hungry. Cubs have 13 new players from the end of last season when they won the World Series. 13 new players on their 40-man roster. Think about it. That's a turnover of a third. A couple prominent names are gone. Dexter Fowler, he's in St. Louis, as I think most baseball fans know. Aroldis Chapman is back in New York with the Yankees.
Jason Hamill.
Jason Hamill was picked up. There was some conversation about him coming back to Chicago.
I think Hamill kind of laid that conversation to rest about a week ago when he said the conversation was more not if you want to come back to Chicago, it's going to be out of the bullpen, not as a starting.
And then the opportunity with the Royals arose. At the knees, 3-2.
Joe Maddon's even said that they've contemplated possibly going to a 6-man rotation. So they felt like they had the depth, at least for the starters, to get things done.
5 strikeouts. That is 10 in a row set down by Marquez. 1-0 Rockies. Brought to you by Steel. Find the new Steel Lightning battery system at a Steel dealer near you. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Herman Marquez and the Rockies have a 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning on a great day for a tan. at Salt River Field's a Talking Stick in North Scottsdale. Drew Goodman, Jenny Kavnar, Ryan Spilborg's upstairs. Corey Sullivan is down in the dugout area. Wade Davis, who came from Kansas City to be the new closer for the Cubs this year. And for more on his story, we check in with Corey.
Yeah, I faced him a little bit when he was with the Tampa Bay Rays. He was a starter. He features fastball. It's firm 95. He's got a phenomenal cutter. Throws 90, 91. Big knuckle curve that he likes to throw on the same plane as his fastball, and a good changeup. He's a little bit different now, I think, as a reliever. He really just features that hard fastball with some good late movement. It also gets on you really good, but his cutter, I'm not kidding. He can locate it just about anywhere in the 4 quadrants, and it is a very, very difficult pitch to hit because of that late break. Spilly, you know what that's like. You face guys like Roy Halladay, guys like Chris Carpenter, who threw that cutter that just, it broke 2 to 3 inches right as it crossed the plate.
Well, anytime you have a pitcher that has movement that's late breaking movement where you can't differentiate between a fastball and the off-speed pitch, all the advantages go to the hitter. I mean, to the pitcher.
1-2. Wade Davis has given up 4 runs in 3 1/3 this spring. Set up on the outer edge of the plate, and the cutter misses 2-2.
I think how the Cubs acquired Wade Davis is kind of interesting. When you look at Aroldis Chapman going back to the Yankees, the big move to get Aroldis was giving up Gleyber Torres. It's a huge shortstop prospect that the Cubs had, and now he's potential shortstop of the future for the Yankees. And you look at the fact that the Cubs had to trade Jorge Soler. That was the guy that the Cubs gave a 9-year, $30 million deal to, a Cuban-born player. Traded to Kansas City straight up.
Well, Soler was splitting time in a crowded outfield in Chicago. He'll get an opportunity to play every day for the Royals. And when you look at that deal, that's, if he produces an outfielder, that's a really kind of a low dollar type of deal for a guy that's 6'5" and 230 and has a ton of ability. I mean, he plays to his talent level. It's going to be a nice deal for the Royals.
I think it's 4 years, $15 million. So 4 years of control, which anybody in front offices, they love control of young talent. And for the price tag, it's, as you said, it's pennies on the dollar.
Cargo lifts that in a place where nobody can catch it, even with the shift on. And he has his 2nd hit of the day. So leadoff single for Cargo against Wade Davis here in the 5th inning. That'll bring up Arenado.
Last at bat for Nolan. It was a little frustrated as he's starting to try to get that swing back to where he's accustomed to it. Flew out to center field. Raimel Tapia will now pinch run for Carlos Gonzalez as his day's up. As I mentioned, just the frustration since WBC coming back. Just missing stuff, broke his bat at home plate.
You know, it'll be interesting because Tapia, as you mentioned, he's in it running at first for Cargo. If Nolan does not like his AB, I'm not so sure he's going to come out of this game.
I'm fine with Nolan getting as many at-bats as he needs.
I don't think he can ever have enough at-bats. You talk about getting 60. This is a guy that goes into the
Tapia,
dugout.
yeah, Tapia takes off foul. You know, I would say yes and no on that, and Spilly would be more an expert on that, because I always go back, Jenny, to, remember we used to watch the big man take batting practice, and when he had enough swings at batting practice, Giambi, he just put the bat down and he watched the rest of batting practice. And I think sometimes with guys, when they have a good feel, they're ready to go.
But Nolan's never not thinking about hitting. That's my point, is that whether it's live reps or he's in the cage or he's off the tee, he's taking dry hacks all the time. He'll walk in the dugout and he's just sitting there and he's getting his timing down. He'll probably walk around his house doing that.
Do you know, it's funny you say that, because I was telling a friend of mine today who was visiting, and I said, man, these guys take so. It was Brandon Stokely who played a long time in the NFL. And
Name dropper.
Name dropper. But no, but the reason I'm saying is because he says it's amazing to me how many swings these guys take in a given year. And I said it's hundreds of thousands. And I said, Nolan, to Jenny's point, he'll be in the clubhouse with a bat taking swings, and you just don't want to be wandering in close proximity to him.
Yeah.
The
There's
difference
actually a bat in his hand. He likes to do it invisibly, too.
The difference between Giambi and Nolan, Giambi was 40 years old at the time.
It's true.
Good point.
But he's in a different spot.
And for Nolan knowing him, it's a feel. It's not the result. I guarantee you, if he has 3 hits today, all broken bats, he's not happy about that. He wants to square up the baseball.
See, this is going to be out of play, but Nolan.
Not happy about it.
No, do you see his reaction, Jenny?
Yeah.
It's part of his greatness. Never satisfied.
We were talking about Tony Gwynn earlier in this broadcast and the comparison with DJ LeMahieu. Tony Gwynn used to have his wife in his hotel room. They'd roll up socks into a ball, and she would be doing soft toss with Tony Gwynn after a game. I mean, talk about never stop working.
Clean or dirty socks?
Hopefully clean.
You know, Spilly and Sully, they just used to have pillow fights. I don't know if it helped their game at all.
Right. Road roomies.
And Nolan works underneath this. Zach Short's going to get called off late. And Jason Hayward makes the catch. Much to the surprise of Matt Caesar. I think Caesar thought he was going to be making the catch, but it was Hayward. In that trifecta, the right of way goes to the center fielder, right,
And this
Spilly?
is why it's so important as an outfielder to not give up, not expect the second baseman to catch the baseball or the right fielder, and you watch as Hayward, Gold Glove for a reason. Continue to track the baseball and take charge.
I feel kind of bad for 3 named Short, though, right? He's up there
3-name
calling
Short.
everybody off.
Yeah.
Supposed to make the out. Waving his arms big.
Just can't get any respect, huh?
Not yet.
Story, an RBI single in the 3rd. That is the difference in the game. 1-0 the Rockies lead. The Rockies have out-hit the Cubs today 7-2. German Marquez scheduled to go 6 innings or around 90 pitches.
I want to bring it back to Wade Davis because, again, his career path and how he's bounced around from Tampa Bay to Kansas City and now to the Cubs, he was a player to be named later as part of a deal that sent James Shields from Tampa Bay to Kansas City.
You saw that one coming. That goes in the stands. Wade Davis kept trying to get finer and finer with his pickoff throw, and he spikes that one past Candelario, and the second goes Tapia. Second error of the game on the Cubs.
Not really giving the fielder or anybody a chance on that one. Listen to the names in the trade that sent James Shields to Tampa, from Tampa Bay to Kansas City. It was James Shields, Wade Davis, to Tampa Bay for Mike Montgomery, Will Myers, and Jake Odorizzi.
A lot of big names in that deal. Will Myers just signed a long-term deal, very lucrative deal with the Padres.
He's going to be the face of that franchise for a while.
As long as he could stay healthy. He did last year and he produced. This ball down the line, foul. Odorizzi's talented.
Mike Montgomery is now teammates with Wade Davis on the Chicago Cubs team.
So you're saying that we should stop writing off those player to be named laters?
At times, yes.
Yes. They can make a nice career for themselves.
Yeah, if you think back to that deal, guys, that the Rockies did, Dan O'Dowd was the general manager at the time, when the Rockies acquired LeMahieu and Tyler Colvin for Casey Weathers, who was a #1 pick, 8th overall out of Vanderbilt. He was going to get to the big leagues quickly as a closer, and then he had arm issues, and he never did pitch in the big leagues. And also Ian Stewart, who had prodigious talent and had some moments. He had 23 home runs one year. But of those 4 names, the least known name, the most unheralded name, is the guy who became the best player, DJ LeMahieu.
Gold Glove, batting title.
Big swing from Story, no baseball. It's 3-2. Story a strikeout in the second, and that sharp single to left center to drive home LeMahieu. Tapia can really run. He's at second, running for Cargo. Outside, ball 4.
And later today, we're going to see Greg Holland, a teammate of Wade Davis that Davis would set up for in the 8th inning just to get the ball to Holland. He's going to throw later on today and expected to throw some tomorrow as the back-to-back days. There's Greg Holland. That was one heck of a 1-2 punch.
This game, it was 7 innings, game over. If you were trailing the Royals, you weren't going to make much hay against Wade Davis and Greg Holland. Reynolds been on twice, a single and a walk. Who's thrown on a backfield today against the Milwaukee Brewers is Tyler Anderson. Get an update at some point, hopefully, on how Anderson's work went. Billy, how many of those games did you play on a backfield where you get to hit first every inning?
Try to do it at least 2 or 3 times a spring. That's 15 at bats at least. And as I told Jenny earlier, 60 at bats for me as a bench guy would set me up for my season as a pinch hitter. And leading off the first inning against all the different pitchers was awesome. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better situation to simulate pinch hitting.
One out. Here's the 1-1. And this ball is unloaded right center field. This is going to roll all the way to the wall. It'll score at least 2. Story can fly. He's going to score standing up. It's going to be a 2-run double for Mark Reynolds. Make it 3-0 Colorado.
It's a good piece of hitting. Davis obviously struggling with command, having to mix his pitches in the middle of the plate. Mark Reynolds not doing too much with the swing, just shooting it into the right center gap. We almost had our chance for the opportunity of Raimel Tapia versus Trevor Story.
To see who was faster?
See who was faster.
I did see that Trevor tried to pass him up there a little bit after rounding 3rd. Must have heard our conversation.
What's neat about that, Jenny, is what we were talking about earlier. Athletes everywhere. So you get a ball in the gap, and there's no question the trail runner is going to score. That's why another reason I think it will prove to be a really shrewd move by Jeff Bridich and his staff to think out of the box and put an athlete of Ian Desmond's caliber at first base. So now every position on the field, including Tony Walters, your catcher, they all have plus athletic ability. Run a little bit, great range. It's huge. You can't just be one-dimensional, I think, especially guys in the National League.
No, you can't. And we've talked about that so much with the versatility and the makeup of this roster. And when you do get Ian Desmond back and you have a Mark Reynolds on a bench, that might be really your only true big bat coming off your bench. You might have to even think outside the box on how you're using that 4-man bench when you talk about athleticism. You're going to have a lot of speed coming off of your bench. You're going to have a lot of guys that can put the ball in play. They might not necessarily be the home run type hitters, but you have guys that can get the job done in situations. I think that's what's going to be important for this team down the stretch. Not even down the stretch.
No,
just getting through April and May.
I agree with you. Chris Denorfia, another guy that lends depth, who's a very good athlete. I don't know if Chris in a battle for that 25th spot, 24th, 25th spot. But it's not just those 25 guys, as we so frequently talk about late in spring trainings. Billy, you know this well. Sully knows it well. It's about the 40-man roster. It is about the guys in AAA and AA, because they may have to make an impact at some point during the regular season. And Wade Davis, I mean, his uneven spring continues here at Salt River Fields. He walks another. He's faced 5 hitters, a single. He got Nolan to fly out, then a walk, a double, and another walk. And Joe Madden is going to take the baseball from him. He doesn't want him out there for 25, 30 pitches. Rockies up 3-0. Mark Reynolds a 2-run double a moment ago.
Today we highlight the amazing off-season workouts of Chris Denorfia. He is bouncing on the trampoline. He was looking for a different workout to take a lot of the pressure off of his back, and found gymnastics as an opportunity to strengthen his core. There's Dino getting some water, pitching change for the Cubs.
Rafael Ynoa is going to pinch hit, or pinch run, I should say, for Chris Denorfia. You talk about those workouts, though. A lot of guys are stepping away from that heavy lifting, especially as they get older in the game. They're trying to find something new to switch up that routine, and sometimes that's good. Your routine and how you execute it, it has to be ever-changing, right, to keep your body as healthy as possible.
I think just as you age, as you get older, certain aspects of your body don't work quite as well. You hear of guys like Evan Longoria. This ball's driven to left field.
And it's going to run all the way to the 345 mark. Patterson running for Reynolds will score. Here comes Ynoa chugging around third, and he'll score standing up. 2-run double, Dustin Garneau, and the Rockies extend their lead to 5-0. Garneau's had a great spring offensively. He now has 14 spring RBIs, with Steven Cardullo is among the Cactus League leaders in ribbies.
Garneau knows he's going to have an opportunity to play some this year because of Tom Murphy with the broken forearm. And just love the approach. The guys have been raving about him all spring training, about the quality of bat that he has been and his ability to manage the pitchers.
This is Mario Meza, by the way, throwing in relief of Wade Davis. And the books closed on Davis, and that ERA over 7 just got significantly worse, which is hard to do when you have a 7 ERA. He gives up 4 runs in a third of an inning. And now Joe Madden will have to answer all those questions about, are you concerned about Wade Davis in about 45 minutes to an hour. Marquez grounds out, 2 gone. That'll bring up Blackman.
Marquez, by the way, making contact in all 3 at bats today. I think that is very important to note, Spilly.
All right, well noted. I want to get back to the conversation about workouts because here's the polar opposite. Here's Charlie Blackmon, and Blackmon was focusing a lot on his lower body strength, lifting heavy, whereas the opposite is Chris Denorfia, not looking to lift heavy.
Body weight, flexibility.
Well, I think you guys pointed it out. A lot of that had to do with pre-existing injuries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Back injury. Yeah.
And if you're back, Spill, you spent a million years in the weight room. You know this. If your back's not right, it's hard to do certain lifts. I mean, I know the Rockies are big on deadlifting. If you have a back issue, you're not going to be deadlifting.
I think the neat thing, though, looking at Chris Denorfia, when I was with the Padres, he was on the team, and so I've watched kind of his career unfold. He's always been in great shape, but he looks like he's in amazing shape. And you take the Charlie Blackmon approach to that, and Charlie is in amazing shape right now coming into camp. He's probably, we called it yoked. He's the most yoked he's ever been. Yoked.
He's buff. He's yoked.
He is buff.
We were talking about it on the air yesterday with Gabe Bauer, who does a terrific job as the director of performance for the Rockies. Charlie's one of the 3 or 4 strongest Rockies. You know who else is in that group? And I wanted to mention this because he's had an outpouring of love and prayers, and we wanted to continue that. Chad Bettis. It's another reason you know Chad is going to whip this thing. Chad Bettis is one of the best conditioned and strongest Colorado Rockies. Tom Murphy, who's coming off, he's going to be coming off that injury. Tom Murphy may be stronger than anybody. We talk about Trevor Story, another guy who's one of the kings of the weight room. But Blackmon is yoked, you're right.
And the similarity between all 4 athletes, strong in the lower half. Contreras is determined today to backpick somebody at second base.
See, I have a theory on that, Spilly. When you have a long half inning and there's another walk, when you have a long half inning, as a catcher, you get frustrated. You're like, I'm going to try to pick somebody. I'm going to try to find it out. I'm going to entertain myself. I'm going to backpick everywhere. and if you can really throw,
you got to show off. I mean, there's 17,000 people in attendance today.
Ninth man to hit in the inning.
I don't know. I'm just making up numbers. Half of them with brand new Cubs apparel.
It is a sellout today, but I believe that's around 13,000.
Well,
not to discredit your mathematics there. I'm just adding 4,000 from
You
nowhere.
can't see all the folks down by the Washington Monument.
Is that what it is?
Steven Cardullo is in the game now, pinch running. At first for Charlie. LeMahieu 1 for 3 officially. He reached on an error by Javier Baez at short in the 3rd inning. Would come around to score the first run of the game on a hit by Story. Rockies with 9 hits, the Cubs with just 2. Cubs have also made a couple of errors. And now Contreras to the mound.
He's going to talk about his back pick. Just a guess, Joe.
I was going to say, dude, I've been sitting back here for a half hour. Let's go.
Mesa from Culiacan, Mexico. It's a place I played winter baseball in.
Did you?
Yep.
How many
Tomateros.
How many places did you play winter ball?
I actually got traded from the Yankees at Obregón, which is where Vinny Castilla made his name in Mexican baseball, Mexican League baseball, to Culiacan.
Where else did you play in the winter?
That was it.
That was it? That's the only stop? Those 2? Good inning for the Rockies. Mark Reynolds had a 2-run double, and Dustin Garneau a 2-run double. 5-0 Colorado off to the 6th.
5-0 in the top of the 6th inning. Before the game today, the Rockies awarded their camp MVP to Steven Cardullo, who's now in right field. It's the 14th annual award. It goes to the guy who puts up the best camp. He hit .326. He's got 3 homers, 14 RBIs, and then the award is named after a girl named Abigail Greer, who in 2002, she's 6 years old. Her family came to a game against the San Francisco Giants, and unfortunately, she was killed in an auto accident outside of the stadium at Coors Field. He goes on to become the 14th award winner, as I mentioned, and some other names of the guys that have won it. There's Trevor Story, also Spilly up there, won it back in 2009, and the inaugural winner was Luis Gonzalez back in 2004, so that's pretty cool for Steven Cardullo this year.
Corey, you also won the award.
I did in 2005.
That's cool. I know you guys thought of that as a very special honor, because when you're talking about the MVP that works the hardest during spring, a lot of times it's the guys that are trying to make a team.
I was taken back when I won that Abby Greer award, just because it felt like it was for the rookies at the time. You know, Luis Gonzalez won it in 2004. Clint Barmas won it another year. Tulo won it another year. Jason Nix was another guy that won it. And that year in 2009 that I won, I lost my mother, and obviously, that was a tough spring training. This should be an easy play for Dulo and Wright. And it was nice to get acknowledgement of having a good spring training from your peers, because that's something that the Rockies look down upon. Giving acknowledgement to a guy like Cardullo that we followed closely last year, because he was an independent ball player that made it to the major leagues, and we understood how hard he's had to travel and to get here. So the Abby Greer getting an opportunity to just acknowledge Abby Greer, the tragedy behind her, and then acknowledge the players that have grinded through certain spring training.
In that video we saw was Abby's parents that were here to hand out the award, so I know that's really special for them. But yeah, you mentioned Steven Cardullo and the hard work that he's had. We talked about his great story last year, coming up from the rise of independent ball, just never giving up. Of course, Mark Wiley, the pitching coordinator in the organization, having a close connection with them. Kind of discovering Steven Cardullo and giving him this opportunity. But this is a guy, as we talk about rosters and breaking camp, with Ian Desmond being hurt to start the season, you have Mark Reynolds at first base, and you might need a backup first baseman.
Jason Hayward leads on this one, and it is gone. 2-run home run. Second spring training home run for the struggling Hayward. Certainly got the barrel out on that one. First markers allowed by German Marquez.
Paying attention to Jason Hayward. Not a lot of head movement. That's what you'd like to see, the good athleticism out of Hayward. And for a guy that we mentioned earlier, last year, .631 OPS. Just trying to find his swing. That's what I wanted to bring in Corey Sullivan about. Just for a guy that's been in the major leagues for a long time to try and get into spring training and restructure your swing. I mean, you can attest to how difficult that is to do as a player when you have your swing already naturally born.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's incredibly difficult. And I was going to say, for me, the only thing that I really see that is a bit of an issue now, he's lowered his hands, but he goes from 0 to 60 when he attacks the baseball. And that's really, really difficult, because when you do that, you bring a lot of big muscles in. And when your big muscles get involved, you tend to tighten up, and it creates a lot of problems in the swing. I think when Jason Hayward first got to the big leagues, his swing was very fluid. It was very smooth. It wasn't an efforted swing, but now it sure seems like everything gets really tight. I know he hit a homer there and everything looked really good, but if you watched his follow through on that, his momentum was actually going backwards. After his stride, he had to take a stride back before he went to run to first base, and that just tells me that his body movement is going in the wrong direction. Spilly, Jenny, you guys know, when you hit, you've got to keep your body towards the pitcher. You've got to keep a positive movement. When you're moving negatively, it's taking away from the strength of the swing.
I don't want to pick on Jason Hayward.
We're not picking on him.
No,
he's intriguing to me.
He is, but, and it's not my money, but I've always thought they overvalued the defensive metrics when it came to Jason Hayward, because is Hayward a terrific outfielder, whether he's in center or right? Absolutely. However, on average, you're getting less than 2 baseballs a game. So is he going over the wall 7 times a week to take home runs away that virtually no one else gets to?
No.
And then when you look at his offensive numbers, he had 1 year he hit 293. He had 1 year he hit more than 20 home runs about 5 years ago with Atlanta. Other than that, he's been a 12, 14 home run guy and a 260 hitter.
I think it's a lot of pressure when you give a guy a contract like that and the expectation to live up to it.
Contreras, by the way, just called out on strikes by a curveball.
That was a nasty curveball and a good bounce back after giving up a home run to Jason Hayward.
Really nice bounce back. And Jenny, you're absolutely correct. It looks like his breaking ball's improved as the afternoon has gone on. Another line to share with you. You mentioned that Tyler Anderson was going to throw in a AAA game against the Brewers, and his line in 6 2/3, he gives up 2 runs on just 4 hits, struck out 7, did not walk a batter, 82 pitches. So a very nice, strong performance from Tyler Anderson in a AAA game today. This ball line past Christian Adames, and this will be a double for Baez.
And I think for Tyler Anderson, we had his game on Monday when he faced the Cubs, and he was not too pleased with his outing and the way things went there. So I think just having, even if it's against a minor league team, having that bounce back outing this late in the season as you're approaching that time when it's about go time, super important for your confidence. And again, I think the 0 walks, just showing the control of Tyler Anderson, the guy he's going to be that steady guy in your rotation.
As Heimer Candelario steps in, is there any doubt that he had gone over every scouting report he could find on the AAA lineup for Milwaukee? Because that's how he rolls.
Hey, I'm telling you, there are times that a major leaguer goes down to these minor league games and gets their tails kicked.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen great major league starters go down and get bombed.
Yeah, because you have one team really fired up and another guy that's like, oh boy, all right.
Gotta get through this.
Yeah.
Get my work done, get out.
'87 pitches in for Marquez. It would be a beautiful thing if he could retire Candelario and finish his day with 6 strong. He's now ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And that looked like the changeup, Jenny, that you're mentioning, that maybe 4 to 5 mile an hour difference between fastball and changeup. A lot more movement on that pitch, but if you miss up, that is the margin of error that a larger differential between fastball and changeup makes up for it.
He threw that curveball exactly where Garneau wanted it. Sometimes catchers don't want to give away a kind of a dirt target with a runner at second base. That or they're bluffing. Showing breaking ball, and it's really a heater. Let's see what you get here. Good fastball, and this ball toward Cardullo, and he'll make the catch to end the inning. 2-run home run by Jason Hayward. The only marks against German Marquez today. Pitch well, 5-2, middle of 6. couple hands, got some fist bumps, and then he was summoned to the principal's office in a good way. Buddy Black and Darren Holmes wanted to visit with him. And firm handshakes and nice smiles from the guys in charge. Here's some of the highlights. 2 runs on 5 hits. He walked just 1 and struck out 6. A lot of positives for German Marquez, who's battling for that final rotation spot. Or as Jenny pointed out in the open today, maybe a bullpen spot. You don't know.
Yeah, it could be one of them. I think he really made a stamp last year, I would say, from his major league debut. And he only had those 6 games that he appeared in, 3 starts. But his last outing on October 2nd against Milwaukee, he went 6+ innings, gave up a couple of runs with 7 strikeouts. And I think for him to be a guy in that mix, it's just 6 games, it's just 3 starts, but those are 3 starts of experience that you have on other guys in the big league setting. And I think that kind of gave him an edge coming into spring training, saying, hey, these spots are open. We know you have the experience. Show us that you've earned this spot.
Raimel Tapia is at the plate right now. However important those starts are for a young major league pitcher, how would you equate it to a young hitter getting his first at-bats? Because everything is new, and this is the best league in the world.
I think there's a lot more pressure on a starting pitcher to figure out the routine, making sure, because hitting's hard. There's no doubt about it. Hitting's probably the most difficult thing in all of sports to do. And for a pitcher, I think you can be exposed more than you can as a hitter, just because if you don't have the secondary pitch, if you don't have fastball command, you can be exposed at the major leagues very, very quickly. 1 or 2 starts can show a major league organization whether you have what it takes or not.
You know, I think these are going to be some hard decisions for Bud Black and his staff, and for Jeff Bridich and the front office coming down to the end. You talk about some of those hitters and some of those bench spots and how you're going to distribute them. And you talk about the 4 guys vying for 2 spots and possibly a bullpen spot. They've all had deserving springs in their own rights. I don't want to be the one in the room making that decision.
I think it's a sign of great growth with your club and roster depth and talent when the decisions are hard. There have been a number of springs where we sat here and it was a foregone conclusion on March 1st who the 25-man roster was going to be, barring an injury.
How about the years you sat here coming into spring training, even halfway through spring training, and you could not name 2 or 3 guys in the starting rotation? And here you're sitting coming in, again, minus Chad Bettis, unfortunately, having to go back through chemotherapy, leaving the rotation. You had 4 solid candidates for your rotation with 5 to 6 guys, legitimate candidates, vying for a 5th spot and possibly a spot in the bullpen. So, again, not just the depth with the pitching, but we've then seen it now with the makeup of your roster and the guys that have gotten injured. It all of a sudden shows, gosh, we have to go out there, and you're not going to be putting AAA players in those spots. You're going to be putting major league caliber players in the spots of guys who unfortunately are hurt to start the season.
I had a stat from one of the guys that they said when they came into spring training, they said 12 Spilly. 12 what? We have 12 arms in camp. They could throw over 96 miles an hour. And I go, wow.
Out of control. That's crazy.
It's crazy. You haven't had this much depth as far as arm talent in the Rockies organization ever.
In this offseason on those caravans, I mean, I remember doing a Q&A with Steve Foster. He almost lights up when you talk about the arms and the strength of those arms, as you mentioned, the 12 arms there. They can go over 96 miles an hour. That just gives you so much more to work with. And all of a sudden, you're starting to just, with those numbers alone, wear away the stigma of Coors Field, right? Because now you're not talking about you have to be this finesse pitcher, you have to be this pitcher, or this pitch doesn't work for you. It's no, you're a power arm pitcher. And the Rockies have a stash of those. And I think it's going to make the world a difference, not only when it comes to your starting rotation and guys being able to get you into games deeper, but now you're talking about the back end of your bullpen and throwing out Mike Dunn and Greg Holland and Adam Ottavino and Carlos Estevez in whatever order you want to, Jake McGee in that mix. That's crazy. It's a lot to work with.
And that's why the Rockies have such a buzz, not only here at Salt River Fields, but the rest of the baseball world is starting to give the Rockies their due. A lot of national media outlets are picking the Rockies as being one of the dark horses in baseball that can make some noise in the National League West.
Story with the runner going, and Contreras bobbles it, and a stolen base for Adames.
Adames said, "You backpick me, I guess I'll just steal second on you."
Christian's had a good camp.
He has. That's going to be another hard decision. You talk about a guy without options. From the conversation with Bud Black, he's pretty much solidified Alexi Amarista is going to be a man on your bench. You're going to have a backup catcher. So if you go with a 4-man bench, that leaves you 2 guys. And I think where this organization really needs to look towards, do you need that extra outfielder, or can you find it in a versatile player that can play first base and back up for you while Ian Desmond is out with Mark Reynolds starting there? Are you going to find that in a utility infielder? Can Christian Adames be a guy that can fill that void for you? And he's a switch hitter off the bench.
I'll give you a guy that's certainly in the mix. He's in the on-deck circle because he can play the outfield and also play first base. Story gone. And that's Jordan Patterson. Yeah. Cardullo from the right side fits that bill. He can play first. He can play the 2 corner outfield spots.
We saw it with John Gray having to get a DH for him yesterday with the toe situation. So Reynolds was supposed to start at first, and he moved into a DH spot. They moved Parra into first base, giving him a start there. And I think that's maybe one of the big question marks. Does Parra have enough versatility to where you can utilize him in a backup role at first base? Even though he was hesitant coming into camp, we joked with him a bit, saying, you know, are you going to be a slash player this year? You can play outfield slash first base, since he logged some time there last year with the ankle injury. He said, no, I am not an infielder.
Well,
but hey,
he was yesterday.
He was yesterday.
And you like to have that.
He was an athletic infielder yesterday. So again, it just boils down to the fact that this game is ever changing, and especially for the Rockies, where you are as a bubble player on this team, you have to show your versatility, and it has to be more than just the offense you can provide.
Looking for an affordable way to entertain the family, friends, clients, or employees? Ask about the Sunday Monday Super Suite Special. Tickets start at $100 per person, including a catering package.
When's your birthday?
It's not till September.
Is it on a Monday or a Sunday?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I think I could get that done for you.
Hector Rondon, hard throwing right-hander, pulled down the line. Fair ball for Jordan Patterson. Come on home, Christian Adames. A double for Patterson, 6-2 Colorado.
Rondon has been struggling of late with his command. Walked Adames. Adames steals second, and then Patterson just showing and proving to Bud Black that he's able to face legitimate back end of the bullpen arm. Pulls a 2-out double down the right field line. He went high socks today.
I like it. Here's Rafael Noah. Takes a strike.
Going back to the bubble players and versatility, Amarista has played some in center field, has had started in center field. Yesterday we saw him in left. We mentioned Parra playing first base. Jordan Patterson had a start earlier in the week at first base. Also came in as a defensive replacement in a game against Cleveland, made a diving play. Not only that, Pat Valaika is giving himself an opportunity to make the team as well. Shows some pop, can play shortstop. To me, that's probably the most important aspect of a utility infielder. Can you play shortstop? Valaika, UCLA grad, former Gold Glove winner.
It grounds to short. That'll end the inning. A walk and a double by Patterson, and the Rockies have another run on the board. 6-2 off to the 7th. nothing to hide that frequency. Natural purple head. 6-2 Rockies leading. They have out hit the Cubs 10-5. Drew Goodman, Jenny Kavnar, Ryan Spilborghs, and Corey Sullivan. Sully?
Just a second. We got to wait for the grounds crew to get settled. Once they get settled, we'll get the interview done.
It's always about the grounds crew. You got to know that down there, Corey.
I gave a fair warning.
All right, we'll throw it back to
just
Corey
give me a
in
second.
a moment.
Just give me a moment down here. Got a lot of stuff going on.
Jordan Lyles is on the hill. Matt Caesar at the plate takes strike one. Lyles re-signed by the Rockies in the offseason to a one-year deal. Exclusively now working out of the bullpen. With Houston coming up in his first few seasons with the Rockies, he was primarily a starter.
I think the Rockies look at Jordan Lyles in the same way that they saw Wade Davis. Wade Davis, a former starting pitcher, but they love Jordan Lyles and his ability to throw the cutter, have a little sink on his fastball, and can run up the velocity.
The last pitch he threw Caesar was a cutter away. And he gets some weak contact, ground ball to third. Let's check in with Corey again. He's got a special guest. Corey?
Yeah, we're down here with German Marquez, starting pitcher for the day. 6 innings pitch, you look great. Bud Black in his press conference today really talked about how you needed to focus on your curveball and your changeup and throwing them for strikes. How did you feel with those 2 pitches today?
Yeah, today was a good day to find that release point, you know, and I did. Just looking for release point and throw it.
Okay, and you really looked good out there. You look sharp. You got 5 punch-outs against only 1 walk. What was your #1 pitch today?
Fastball, my locator was really good. Inside, outside, missing all the pitches, and that's it, man.
You got a big knock today. You got a knock in the game on Monday as well as your swing starting to come around. I saw some of the guys messing with you a little bit. Swing starting to come around now.
I always am looking for fastball, man. Just that, and make an approach.
Okay. When you came out of the game, what did Bud Black say to you?
He told me like I need to keep it working, and that's it. And good work.
About 7-8 days left in spring training. Is there any goals or anything you have left to check off the list when you leave camp?
Yeah, man. I'm going to keep it up and still working, and I'm still working my pitches, and that's it.
Thanks a lot, German. Great job today. Back to you guys.
All right, Corey, thanks very much. And it was a very good outing for German Marquez. Again, saw the line. He goes 6 innings and allows just a couple of runs, only 1 walk. And as Jenny pointed out, as the afternoon went along, his curveball got better. He did find that release point he was talking about.
It did. You can hear it. I love the confidence in his voice in talking to Corey. When Corey asked, what did Bud Black say to you? And he said, just keep working, but I did a good job. And, it's such a credit season. We don't talk about it enough. And we saw Abby Thayer earlier. She does a great job as the translator of this team. But for a lot of these Latin players, they have done such a wonderful job of learning English and learning how to deal with the media and learning how to communicate. And I really, hats off to German Marquez, because there's Abby right there. He has come such a long ways, and I just think being able to do that interview for him in English without a translator, that's a huge deal.
And Jenny, great point. And this goes into the corner for Sepulveda. He's going to have a 2-out double. This is a kid. He turned 22 last month. He's a puppy.
Crazy.
And he's trying to make a major league club. He's from San Felix in Venezuela. He doesn't get to see his family much. And we talk about kids going away to college and getting homesick. I mean, he's thousands of miles from home. And he's learning not only a new language, but different culture. He's really done a great job.
And a new organization, too. You talk about a kid being drafted from a country into one organization with the Rays and thinking, this is where you're going to start your major league career, and getting a new opportunity with the Rockies, learning a new organization, having to meet new teammates, new friends, and continue to learn that language and keep moving forward. So, again, just overall a great day for German Marquez. I think he really put a stamp on his performance and what he could do for this team.
A base hit to drive in a run.
Well, back-to-back hits against Jordan Lyles, a double by Sepulveda, and then a nice sharp single up the middle. And Jordan's trying to get the sinker to go inside to the right-hander, wasn't able to get it and drive it in. That pitch missed too much part of the plate.
That was Jeffrey Baez who got the knock.
Any relation to Javi?
At this point, I can't tell you definitively.
Cannot confirm nor deny that information.
Well, Marquez represented his country and his family very well today. And now he's holding a bat. He's feeling good about his swings as well. It's a good day for the Marquez.
There you go. It's been a big week for Jordan Lyles, by the way. We all know that he was a commit to South Carolina. He was going to play football there, Division I football. Of course, baseball overtook his path out of high school, and he's a huge South Carolina Gamecocks fan, and they are now in the Elite Eight, Spilly. They've surprised a lot of people. The SEC has surprised a lot of people. So Chris Russin, who went to the University of Kentucky, his team also in the Elite Eight.
Oh, stop throwing it on Russin. Your team is in the Elite Eight.
My team, so exciting.
That'll end the inning. Ground ball to short. Jeffrey Baez from Venezuela. Of course, Javi's from Puerto Rico. My guess is no relation. 6-3. One of the fun things that took place earlier in camp, an archery contest, and Kyle Freeland edged out Darren Holmes for the championship. Mayhew was involved.
Is that a bear? I think Darren Holmes
I think that
is
was
probably.
a boar.
Are you sure?
That shook it off too, that boar.
I just wore it.
Yeah. Look at that.
That's a bear.
Bear, boar, whatever.
It's a bear.
Is it a bear?
That's a Darren Holmes.
It's definitely a bear. I think Darren Holmes is probably pretty disappointed at his performance against Kyle Freeland. You talk about Denver City kid against the guy who's an avid hunter.
It was red that day at the at spring training camp that day, and Helton was ticked off that they didn't do it when he was still playing.
Spilly would have been terrible at the archery contest. Sorry, Spilly.
Spilly's SoCal beats Santa Barbara.
You know what?
If they had a surfing contest or a skateboarding contest, Spilly would have been on the
sweet.
podium.
Yep. I actually shot. Do you say you shoot a bow and arrow? Anyways.
Exactly.
Brad Hopp
Exactly.
and Todd, they didn't teach me how to do it, so I just pulled it back and shot it. Well,
Did you shoot yourself?
yeah, you can hit your forearm.
With the arrow or with the
No,
string?
with the string.
Did it hurt?
Oh my gosh, I had a bruise
Well,
on it,
Left a mark?
and they laughed forever.
Garneau at the plate. Dustin a 2-run double back in the 5th inning.
Should we help Spilly out with his mathematics today?
Spilly, how big was the crowd? You mentioned it earlier.
17,000 with half of them brand new Cubs attire.
You were close. 13,565. And it's a new Rockies Salt River Field record.
How about that?
13,565 baseball fans. Awesome.
Now imagine if they just got those 3,400 more in here to get to your 17,000.
Is that how much it would take?
You're a little off.
Your dad would be so proud of your math skills.
Not proud of yours
Nope,
today.
it's fine.
It's okay. He's disappointed in mine more often than not.
It's because you fell asleep in his class.
Well, it's calculus. What are you going to do after lunch? Those turkey sandwiches put you to sleep.
I thought that's what calculus was for, napping.
Exactly.
3-2 on Garneau.
I can't believe Corey's not chiming in on this. Doesn't
asleep.
calculus have a lot to do with baseball?
You know, I'm just trying to do analysis down here. I'm checking all the math. I'm rounding the zeros. Plus, we all know how, low-hanging fruit Spilly is. So.
Yeah, it's very true.
Corey's favorite baseball shot ever was taken this spring when the Rockies lined up and created pi. 3.14, whatever it goes beyond.
It's great. It's my dad's favorite day of the year. March 14th, Pie Day. I think it's his favorite day because you also get to eat pie because he makes the students make pies and bring them into math class.
Does he really?
And they have a pie eating contest.
I never had a math teacher like your dad.
Well, I mean, think of the benefits for him.
True.
It's a pretty good day of eating.
Yeah, but he stays in good shape.
He does. Some cardiovascular working out. 'Cause it's all
Pat
about
Valaika,
routine.
yeah, Pat Valaika up for the first time today. Ground ball underneath the glove and down the left field line. Sepulveda couldn't come up with it. Garneau's going to get a green light from Stu Cole on a strange carom. He'll score easily on what I imagine will be scored a double. Pat from the baseball-playing Valaika family, Spilly.
Good player. Played with his brother, UC Santa Barbara, and I think you're right. This is going to go down as a double. Valaika, as we mentioned earlier, vying for an opportunity to be part of the Rockies bench when they head to Colorado. Garneau's scoring from first.
Here's what the deal is. There's only 25 slots. But some of the guys that get sent down, there will be no hesitation with Jeff Bridich and his crew, Buddy Black and his group, if necessary, to pull up one of those guys that they have to send out, because there are going to be major league ready players playing in AAA initially. Steven Cardullo. Those guys battling away for a final roster spot. Made a great impression last year when he was rewarded with some big league time after a great season in Albuquerque. Terrific spring for Cardullo. We chatted about it a couple of innings ago. Winner of the annual Abby Greer Award, which goes to top player in camp, usually a young player. And Cardullo toward the hole, diving stop, and safe at second. It'll be an infield hit. Getting back, reading it nicely was Valaika. So an infield hit for Cardullo.
Cardullo putting the ball in play.
Buddy, go again.
Nice backhand dive. by our guy, Zach Short. Now it's Short.
Zach Short moving over to short. He's still tall though.
Zach Short, I hope, gets to throw a half inning, or he can't play half an inning. Yeah, I hope he throws. I hope Zach Short gets to throw to a batter today. Yeah, because he's played virtually everywhere anyhow.
Guess who made it in the game? Eli.
Is Eli actually now literally in the game?
Eli's literally in the game.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Is he at second?
Not Zach Short Eli, but Eli. He's at second. So you got to feel good about that, right?
I do. I feel a lot better.
So you can split their stats back up.
They're still split. Combined between the three of the guys that we mentioned today are 0 for 2.
0 for 2.
Daniel Castro swings and misses, and a throw to third's going to nail Valleca trying to steal. 2 outs.
And Contreras finally was able to throw somebody out today, and after he threw out Valleca at third, shook his head saying, "What are you thinking?" Pedro Strop used to be a Rockies middle infielder before being converted to a pitcher. Valleca thinking he had an opportunity with a high leg kick to steal third base. Wilson Contreras said, nah.
Here's Raimel Tapia with 2 outs.
And Strop this offseason signed a 2-year extension with the Cubs. Strop was a minor league shortstop when I was in the minor leagues.
This has had a big arm. This is lobbed out to shallow right. It's going to drop. Cardula to second.
We'll get to the ballpark early on Saturday, April 8th. The first 20,000 fans through the gates will receive a DJ LeMahieu National League Batting Champion bobblehead, courtesy of Shane Company. That should be a collector's item right there.
Or as my kids use, it will be part of the Lego set.
Exactly.
I think I have one Carlos Gonzalez bobblehead that has been painted. And he's pink.
With nail polish?
Yep.
He would actually probably appreciate that.
Yeah.
Adames, a walk and a run scored. That happened last inning. Replaced Nolan. Arenado today. 3 fly balls to center field. Cargo was 2 for 3. LeMahieu had a 1 for 3 afternoon, reached on an error and also scored a run. Charlie Blackmon was 0 for 3 and a walk. Trevor Story had an RBI, also a walk, 1 for 2 officially. And this one is going to be tracked down in left field by Chicago, and that will end the inning, but the Rockies add on again. They have a 7-3 lead as we go to the 8th. Speed Challenge. We asked you if the Cubs could repeat as World Series champions in 2017. And 89% felt as Ryan Spilborghs did. Too difficult in this day and age to repeat.
Let him wait another 100 years. Let him wait another 100 years.
108.
What a curse that would be.
Win one every 108 years?
Yeah. Every century.
Carlos Estevez is on the hill, third pitcher for the Rockies. Andrew Eli, Jenny's at the plate.
Andrew, the real Andrew Eli, right?
Remember that show from your What's My Line? Was it What's My Line? Well, the real
with Drew Carey?
Yeah, Drew Carey and.
Well,
that's whose line is it anyway?
No, when they would fake stand up and then they they did all the questions and they all claimed to be Andrew Eli and then I'm dating myself.
Yeah,
Will
you are.
Well, let's just take a word from Eminem. Will the real Andrew Eli please stand up? Please stand up. We'll just generationally help you out there.
Thank you, I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
Estevez ahead 1-2 on Eli.
This weekend will be a good challenge for Estevez. He's going to pitch back-to-back for the first time this spring. He'll go out, a scheduled outing tomorrow as well. And I talked to him a little bit earlier today about just some of his goals for spring training and coming in after that first full season in the big leagues last year. And he said, I really wanted to work on my delivery and my load and go. And I said, well, how would you grade yourself? He goes, 9 out of 10. So he's excited. He's confident with where he's at and how he's doing.
Well, you know what? It's not going to be a full inning. So,
nope.
You know, in case Buddy Black wants to use him, you know, right on right. So that's what he's doing in this case. 1/3 of an inning, and he pulls him out. Make sure he gets all his arms some work today. They were scheduled to. And Jason Mott will take the baseball. Mott so far in spring training. This will be his 8th appearance. Second year of a 2-year deal. Battled a number of injuries last year. We talked about it the other day when he made an appearance. Somewhat reinventing himself because he doesn't have the upper 90s fastball at his disposal typically.
The first pitch looked like either a slider or a cutter. You can see showing us the grip right from the beginning. It's not the four seam he used to always have. Starting off with the cutter grip.
Fastball fouled off by Wilson Contreras at 91 miles an hour.
And we've said so many times as hitters, as pitchers, it's not velocity. Top end velocity just increases your margin for error. It's location. And for Jason Mott, his ability to strike guys out was because he was able to locate above the belt. But once that velocity starts to dip, the ball above the belt now becomes a pretty decent pitch to hit, especially if you're not commanding secondary pitches, which is what we saw today with Marquez. His ability to get the strikeouts today was completely correlated to his ability to throw the curveball and control his changeup.
Mott, good pitch. On the outside corner, freezes Contreras. 2 outs.
He just throws the fastball right by Contreras. Caught Contreras in between. Mott will talk to the baseball and tell him to do it again.
I got to tell a cute story about Jason Mott. So families are starting to move to Denver. You know, it's about that time, a week to go to the season. So his family's there. His daughter, Margaret, she's playing T-ball this year. And her first T-ball game is opening weekend, right? It's Saturday, coming up Saturday. I guess that'd be April 8th, the day after opening day. And his in-laws, the grandparents are coming to town. And she said to the grandparents, she said, your tickets will be at will call for her T-ball game.
Is that right? At will
Tickets
call?
will be at will call.
That's a big T-ball game.
How great is that?
Do you know, I saw Jason throwing to his daughter after the games were over a couple days ago on the workout field. It was cute to see. 7-3 Rocks.
Good arm. $25 or more receive discounted pricing, scoreboard recognition, and other great benefits. Call today for more information. 303-ROCKIES or visit rockies.com/groups. And as we welcome you back to Salt River Field, the Rockies with a 7-3 lead over the Chicago Cubs as we head to the bottom of the 8th. And it'll be Andrew Bimboom that is hitting. Gerardo Concepcion will be pitching for the Cubs. Did I say Andrew? I meant Anthony. Anthony Bimboom.
And Anthony swings at the first pitch, grounds to second, 1 out against Gerardo Concepcion.
We've had so many names late in this game, just buzzing in and out.
And some fake news during the game also, guys.
We've had a lot of
really
fake
in the game.
news.
Yes.
Mostly
We tried to put
around-
Andrew Eli into the game 6 times before he actually appeared.
Mostly around Zach Short. He will definitely call fake news on this broadcast.
Ryan Spilborg's on deck. Jordan Patterson at the plate. Let's put Spilly in the game. It's been a while.
Corey might have a bat down there.
No, we're not going to do that to Raffy. He knows on deck.
One at bat against a lefty. I mean, if I was going to hand pick somebody, I might as well pick a lefty.
Jordan.
As you saw from Concepcion, he was from Havana, Cuba.
Is that your Cuban accent?
I don't know what that was.
I don't know. Is that how they say it?
Jordan Patterson didn't like that call. 1-2. Cued foul. This is going to be a short week for the Cubs. They're actually out of here in 5 days. On Thursday, they play Houston at Minute Maid Park, and then Friday afternoon, they'll play Houston at Minute Maid Park. And remember, they open on Sunday. They open the World Champions, open the Major League season against the Cardinals on Sunday Night Baseball. The Rockies will be here through next Saturday. They'll leave Saturday after they play Seattle here and fly to Milwaukee. Have a workout in Milwaukee at Miller Park on Sunday, and then opening day in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on Monday. Afternoon game. We have what, a special 1 hour pregame show here on Root Sports?
Special 1 hour pregame show, yeah. It'll be fun to open up in Milwaukee. Rockies have done that a couple times.
With success.
The last couple years with success, yes. It is nice knowing on the road you're going to play in a dome. You don't have to worry about weather.
Yep.
For the Rockies, that 4-game set too. They don't have an off day.
Yeah, and some of the highlights of this season. The home opener, of course, on April 7th against the Dodgers. Long a sellout. Interleague, it's the American League Central. So on the road, the Rockies will see the Twinkies, Seattle, Cleveland, Kansas City. And they'll see Seattle actually. That's strike 3 on Jordan. 2 outs. Throw that graphic up again so you can look at it. Seattle will also come to Denver for a couple of games. Home and home with Cleveland, Detroit, the White Sox at Coors Field. And the season will end at home against the Dodgers.
Well, speaking of Twinkies.
Real quick, I want a note for fans because it's been a while. All Sunday home games as opposed to a 2:10 start time, 1:10 this year. And I say it to remind myself.
Exactly. We'll see you about
Manoah
12:59.
down the left field line. Rockies have put together a large number of doubles today. Spilly, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Well, I mean, this is just topping on the cake. I mean, you were saying Twinkies.
Now you're talking cake.
I was reading Juan Moncada. That is the new second baseman for the Chicago White Sox. Eats on average. This is, cover your ears.
I read this. I can't believe this.
52 Twinkies a week.
A week?
A week.
How is that possible?
He opens it up and he eats it.
You know, he's going to look like Sully pretty soon. Don't open Corey's mic so he can't respond.
Corey, by the way.
No, I hope my mic's open because I gotta say, I mean, I'm 37. I'm a few years out of the game, and I don't really feel like I look that bad. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be on camera.
No,
we have to box you from the neck up.
Oh.
Hey, listen, I will say this, Corey, you look really good, and you beat all prognostications from 15 years ago, what you were going to look like.
Just do yourself a favor. Keep eating that grilled chicken. Keep eating those cuties that you eat.
Cuties.
Keep working out 3 times a day so you can look the way you do, and I'll do what I do.
True to form, here's the deal.
Yeah.
Corey's just fattening the rest of us up.
Well, that way, when I eventually get there.
He brought in 2 huge bags of candy again today.
I only did that because of the conversation
in front of your nose.
Corey, honestly, could you eat 50? Could you approach 52 Twinkies in a week?
I honestly, I do love myself some Little Debbie snacks. I'll be honest with you. But truth be told, Twinkies aren't my jam. They are not. I do like the Nutty Bars and the Zebra Cakes.
Zebra Cakes.
And the Star Crunches and the things of that nature. I've been known to eat those, but 52 Twinkies is insane.
You're more of a ding-dong.
I see what you did there. Well played.
There's not a lot of ingredients listed in those that are natural ingredients.
How much protein in your average Twinkie?
Yeah, let's look up some nutritional facts. See
yeah.
if you're getting 52 in.
That's 7+ a day.
Oof. Ugh, I don't know.
3 balls and a strike on Dustin Garneau. Doubled in a couple of runs earlier. Takes a strike on the outer edge. 3-2. Concepcion pitching the bottom of the 8th inning for the Cubs.
Well, the new Twinkies have less calories in it. It's down to 135 calories. Only 38.5 grams of sugar per 1 cake.
That's 1 Twinkie.
Yeah.
130 calories.
Any protein? 6,760 calories worth of Twinkies per week.
That's like what you should have. That's 3 days worth of
That's
how many
3
calorie
days.
normal calorie intake,
Empty
right?
calories.
They're not really empty because
Let's go down there and play baseball.
You're eating a Twinkie.
You're enjoying it.
Exactly.
Your jaw's moving while you digest it. There's some exercise involved.
I feel like you have to plan out time in your day to get 7+ Twinkies in. It's like on the calendar, like time to eat a Twinkie.
Pat Valleca at the plate. Doubled in a run his last time up. His first time also.
Twinkie eats in between at bats. I'm really stuck on this.
It's a lot of Twinkies.
Crushing them in the dugout.
I'd say it's.
And Juan Moncada's the top prospect in baseball.
Might get a sponsorship too soon.
We're certainly helping him.
Exactly.
Probably hurting our chances at a Twinkies endorsement.
Maybe Spilly is secretly his agent.
No, I'm not. I do like a Twinkie though. I actually cannot remember the last time I've had a Twinkie.
I can't recall either.
Today. Drive back to the hotel. I'm stopping.
You know the Twinkie?
You're gonna stop and get a Twinkie.
Yep.
You all right? Come on.
This year, there is a new special at Coors Field, by the way. You can get a Twinkie, and not only get a Twinkie, but get a fried Twinkie.
Sign me up.
Maybe that's not new this year. Maybe that's been happening.
1-2 count on Valleca. 2 men on, 2 outs. Strike 3. You know what we have to do for one of our CenturyLink polls? Chips or candy? Chips or candy? Write that down, Truck. Chips or candy? 7-3 Rockies to the ninth. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's frequency. By Taco Bell, the bigger, beefier triple double crunch wrap is back only at Taco Bell. And by UC Health, live extraordinary. We had a fun afternoon. We always have fun in Scottsdale. Spring training 2017. 1 week left. The Rockies ahead of the Cubbies 7-3 in front of a record-breaking crowd here at Salt River Fields. 13,565. So many folks that not everybody had a seat, not everybody had a blanket. Some were just standing in the background. Great to see. Jake McGee's going to handle the last 3 outs for the Rockies in his return to the WBC. He had 2 appearances in the World Baseball Classic for the gold medal winning United States team. It totaled an inning. Talking to Jake earlier today, as you look at his line from last year, his legs are underneath him, and he too had a marvelous experience with Team USA. He's got his gold medal here in his locker, and in fact, Nolan wore it out to
He did wear it to batting practice
today.
I told you he was going to rub it into Javier Baez's face with the gold medal. Pat Neshek with an eagle on the mound.
And I got some inside scoop, too, from McGee yesterday. He said when they took the eagle out, a little tiny chip came off of the wing. Just a little bit.
A little chip?
Yeah. The wing got chipped. Oh, Spilly, I know you're making fun of me because I thought that was a rooster that they were bringing out. We were watching the finals. It really looks like a rooster from the side.
Yeah, it totally looked like a rooster.
I get it. I know
wings
Eagle,
up in the air.
America. I know the symbol people, but I just thought maybe, you know, they went for the year of the rooster.
Yeah, that's a rooster.
Look, right there. Looks like a rooster. Hard to tell.
Not hard to tell at all.
The eagle. No, we had a ton of fun. And we were talking about it. I mean, 3 weeks, you know, what a cool time. And especially when you're at the bullpen. These guys are just chumming it up down there. You get to be around guys in different leagues, on different teams. You really get to foster some relationships. He said he became pretty close with David Robertson, Nate Jones, even Andrew Miller. I mean, pick the brain of Andrew Miller. It's not a bad way to spend 3 weeks.
Well, I know Jake McGee started his offseason workout earlier and came into spring training early February, almost mid-season form, had the good fastball, was back. You can see the velocity. Last year, there were times where Jake McGee did not have the same velocity that he had, and right now he's throwing 95 miles an hour. Really important for him. Only 2 innings in spring training with the Rockies, though, being thrown. So not a lot of opportunities for him to pitch in the last 6 weeks.
I would think, what's today, Billy? Saturday? He'll get probably, what do you think, 3 more appearances after today, which it's an imperfect world, but as you pointed out, he got himself ready to go because of WBC earlier. Threw a lot of sides, I'm sure.
Threw a ton of sides. He actually told me, because I asked how that worked out. You know, there were so many times that teams were crossing paths. They were waiting in an auxiliary room to get into the locker room, waiting for the game before them to get done. He said sometimes we'd get in the locker room 45 minutes before the start of a game. So you're sitting out there in the bullpen, waiting. He said, I got up a couple times when I didn't even go in. And then after the game is when they would throw. So he said we had 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock bullpen sessions. But he said I definitely felt like I got all of my work in. I felt comfortable with it. And again, he touched high 90s when they were in Miami. So that velocity that you mentioned, that slow start that we've become accustomed to with him in the past, I don't think that's going to be a problem for Jake McGee this year.
Miguel Amaya is going to pinch run for Candelario.
Drew, I think you're spot on. He told me he plans about 4 games before spring training ends. So 3 more appearances after today should put him right there. And Bud Black always says, you know, relievers, it's so much easier to get them up to speed than it is, you know, for a starter or something. So for McGee, he felt pretty confident with the workload he got.
Last fastball at 94. 1 ball, 1 strike on the catcher, Carlos Corcoran.
Corcoran is switch hitter, started his career with Milwaukee, spent some time with the Houston Astros. Last time in the major leagues was in 2015 with the Texas Rangers.
That's a good little slider underneath the hands. We will remind you that at the conclusion of the game, as we do after every spring training game. We'll have an interview with the skipper, Buddy Black. And a strikeout of Corcoran. One gone. Guess who's coming up, guys?
Zach Short.
Zach Short.
Well, that last pitch right there is what Jake McGee was known for coming from Tampa Bay. The high fastball above the belt. That pitch at over 95 miles an hour. Just blows it right past our boy Zach Short.
Ball and a strike.
Ouch. Keith Duggar and Buddy Black taking a look at Garneau, making sure he's okay. Looks like the foul ball caught him up on the forearm. Maybe even the bicep. Injury bug has played the Rockies this spring training. It's last thing you want to see all spring training.
Yeah, moments at this point.
Man.
Also not the feeling you want to end a 3+ hour game with in the heat of the day as a catcher.
Miss down low, 3-2. That's center field, pretty well hit. And off the glove of Rafael Inoa. That'll be a two-base error.
Inoa giving chase. He is battling the sun in left field, but watch as he starts slowing down. Like to see him get back to the spot, make the catch a little bit easier rather than coast with it. Give yourself a better opportunity to make sure you get the glove to the ball as he continues to pound that glove.
Kind of keeps looking at his glove out there. I mean, that's a tough one that probably lives with you at this point in your career when you're a guy. You know, he's not necessarily fighting for a roster spot, but a rough mistake when your opportunities shine on the big league stage.
Natural middle infielder. As you see the smaller glove.
Sepulveda takes a strike, 1-2.
Trying to show that versatility that all organizations like.
I don't know because the first you go that way, the worse. No, I think he just dropped it there too.
Good block. That's a really tough pitch to block by Garneau.
Anytime you block, you want to try to move your feet. Garneau anticipating the bounce because he knew a slider was coming. Was prepared for it.
Fouled off again. We'll get a run home, 2 outs. 7 of 4. That run as of now unearned. For those that keep a spring training book at home, Jeffrey Baez had an RBI single in the 7th. This is an important at bat only because McGee's probably not going to go beyond this. You want to see him finish the game right here, but he's already thrown 25, 26 pitches. And for that reason, Bud Black's gotten the guy up in the bullpen because you want him to get work. You don't want him to get all that work in 1 outing.
And that guy in the bullpen is James Ferris, part of the deal that sent Eddie Butler to the Chicago Cubs.
Ferris has a good arm. The pitch in the minor leagues this year, but he's got a lot of potential.
He's got arts and crafts skills too. He put together the map of where every player was from and their hometown that resides in Salt River Fields by the clubhouse for the Rockies. There it is. Look at that art project.
It's really good. The guys are they love that.
It's really neat. Get a separate one for different countries, and then he had the United States, and he wrote down each guy, his hometown, and even the high school they went to. And it extended beyond just players. He did the front office, the communications department, people that they would see on a daily basis.
No need for Ferris as McGee strikes out Jeffrey Baez to end the game. Rockies prevail over the Cubs 7-4. A couple strikeouts in that inning for Jake McGee in his return from Team USA. Gave up a run, but it was unearned.